Bum ba dum ba dum ba dum. Hey there, we're streaming today. Ba dum ba dum. Hey there, we're streaming away. Ba dum ba dum. Hey there, how you do. Hey guys, how y'all doing today? I am settling in to a new schedule, to a new lifestyle, to a new way of being, and I think it's going to be really, really good. I do. I think it's going to be really, really good for me. I think I'm going to enjoy it more. I think I'm going to be more connected to myself, to the art that I want to be producing. I think I'm going to be more myself. DJ, good to see you. Good to see you, my man. I've got it worked out now where I'm 3 days into capitalism, 4 days out of capitalism. That's how I've got my life structured now. That means that as of this month, currently and right now, I am more free than not. Yes. Yes. And my hope is that as this unfolds and as I experience more freedom in my life, that I will be able to actually pursue art, pursue things I actually care about, to produce things I actually care about. Eggs D, good to see you, my man. Always a pleasure. And of course, initially, right now, I'm literally just playing video games and sleeping. Going to the gym, going to the gym. Yeah, been going to the gym. Makes me feel good, but mainly, if I'm honest, sleeping and playing video games. That's basically what I've been doing. Cuz I deserve a vacation too, don't I? Huh? Come on. Huh? Guys? Huh? Mikhail, good to see you. And then also there's the other positive benefit, which is that I'm going to be seasonally laid off through January and February. So I'm going to even have 2 months off. So it's things are pivoting in my direction. It feels like the universe is going, here you go, John. Pretty bird. Give me a little little of this, little just like okay, okay. I worry that it's the calm before the storm. That's what I worry about. But such is life. Such is life. I had a conversation with a friend today, and she really pointed out, like, looking at the news these days is more difficult than it has ever been. It's more difficult than it's ever been. Hail Tosis on Twitch, good to see you. Teacher strike in Quebec? Yeah, I fucking hope so. Everybody should strike. The kids should walk out of the classrooms. The kids should walk out of the classrooms, the teachers should walk out, the janitors should walk out, the administrators should walk out, everyone should walk out of the classrooms. The kids most of all. My message to all the children of Canada and the United States: your teachers have nothing to teach you. Uh, 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 if they are not actively shutting down these institutions, then they are complicit in the destruction of the society. Climate change is real. You ever notice how there's all these mass shootings happening? You think there might be something going wrong in the education system when you've got all these mass shootings happening constantly all the time, to the degree, like, if if I was working in a school, if I was working in a school and the school said, "Hey, we're going to install a wall that you can pull out and it'll become like a little safe box for all the kids to run into, and you can lock yourself in and it'll protect you from shooters," right? I would resign. I would literally gather up everybody, teachers, administrators, students, parents, and say something's gone dramatically wrong in our society. Dramatically wrong in our society if this is what we're doing. We have nothing to teach these kids. Like, we're obviously doing something wrong. Like, and it's black and white now. Like, it's so clear. that and a school system that ends up with the results of like, yeah, we're gonna burn down the society through climate change. That's totally cool, right? No, we're just gonna pretend like everything's normal. Like, if you're a kid operating in this system, there's nothing they can teach you, right? Look at the outcomes. Look at the outcomes of the education system, right? You end up with a society of dullards, total yes men, who all they do is they go, yes, sir, because they're scared for their own skins. And at the end of the day, the result is going to be catastrophe upon catastrophe upon catastrophe. Today's catastrophe that we're going to be focusing on, more than any other catastrophe, is the ongoing catastrophe of the Palestinian genocide. Got some really great videos. Now that I'm video capable, we're going to be doing a lot more of that kind of stuff, and I've been a lot more amicable when that kind of stuff passes my radar. Uh, um, the absurdity, the nonsense that we are now experiencing is getting to such a heightened level that it is it's the quote unquote centrists that are looking to be the most lunatic, the people who consider themselves moderates, right? That it's ceasing to be that moderate means well-educated person who's attempting to see all sides, and it just means person who doesn't know what's going on. That seems to be what centrism is now. That centrism is a person who has never been paying attention to the first thing ever and is trying to engage in the conversation in a way so as not to offend everybody or anybody, or trying to find a way to reconcile. But there's no reconciliation to be done, right? You can't reconcile somebody who's saying the difference between somebody saying climate change is real and we should do something about it, and someone who's saying climate change is fake and we should do nothing about it. Like, that's an irreconcilable position. You can't reconcile those two worldviews, right? There's no centrist position. Like, if you walked into a room and somebody was beating somebody up, like just beating them to death, there's no centrist position, right? Like, if you walked into Gaza, there's no centrist position. Like, that centrism looks to me to be either born of cowardice or ignorance. But we're supposed to placate these people, because if you don't, then you'll alienate them. Oh God, you don't want to alienate these people who refuse to acknowledge reality. Yeah. The moderator of extremes is a dictator. Oh well. We're just in Looney Town. And the thing that has, like, it is now getting to the point where my regular normal feed is just full of atrocity. And I think it's with no spoiler alert, no cover, right? No anything, no warning. Just straight up, like, you want to see a video of kids being thrown into a mass grave? Here you go. You want to see a kid shaking from shell shock, still covered with the dust from the explosion that he experienced? Here you go. Content, good to see you, my man. And these, like, traumas, I understand why these organizations are acting this way, and I understand why news outlets are acting this way, because they're desperate, because there's this sense of desperation. Eric, an absolute pleasure to see you, my man. There's this sense of looming desperation that exists in and you can see that these people are desperate because they're experiencing it and they're seeing it firsthand, and it's grotesque and it's ridiculous and it's absurd. And it has put it has spread trauma into the society, and there is good news coming out of this situation, which is we now have the Pope, straight up Mr. Popy Man, right? We all love Mr. Popy Pants, right? We here at the Canadian Economy are not necessarily in favor of the Pope, but we acknowledge that the Pope has a lot of influence amongst the people who care about the Pope. So here's Mr. Popy Man. For those of you who are just listening in, I'll just read it. I continue to receive very serious and painful news from Gaza. Unarmed civilians are subjected to bombings and shootings. And this even happened inside the parish complex of the Holy Family. Yeah, because straight up, like, the IDF is just barbarians. Like, I've got one video here that I'm going to show later that really highlights and illustrates how young the IDF actually is. That the IDF is not full of mature, intelligent, well-spoken, well-read, bespoke individuals. It's full of kids. It's full of children, like literal children in many cases, who are going in to this horrific situation, and their just heads are full of propaganda through an education system, which again, we're going to go through that. We're going to go through the brutal propaganda that these kids are subjected to while they go in to commit this genocide. That there's an entire system. There's an entire system in place to indoctrinate kids to go in and commit a genocide. It's barbaric and it's brutal. And so, of course, these literal children are not going to look at any space as sacred. There's nothing sacred for these people. There's nothing sacred for these people. Halitosis writes, I have to say the Pope is starting to win me over, and I have a history of being an angry atheist. Yeah, all it took was looking at reality and going, reality. Yes, reality persists and exists. Don't get your hopes up. Don't get your hopes up. I think the Pope that follows this Pope is going to be a swing back in the classic Catholic direction, right? Pedophilia club. Pedophilia club. Get ready for it. Will he condemn American Catholics who are donating to Israel next? Is excommunication dead? We'll find out. Rachel Graham, good to see you. Yeah, I'm with you, Rachel. Every time I open my phone, it's dead kids, and it's crazy. Nobody wants to talk about it at all. Well, because it's, like, what are we supposed to do? Like, what are we actually supposed to do, right? Like, you can you can get in the face of your people all you want, right? You can get in the face of your own representatives all you want, right? Like, we know they're not going to actually pull the switch on things that are actually important, right? They're not going to defund Israel. They're not going to stop the flow of money. Although that's what we should be saying to these people. That's absolutely what we should be saying to these people. It's what we should be saying to Justin Trudeau, Chrystia Freeland. It's what we should be saying to Doug Ford. It's what we should be saying to every single one of our representatives. We should be saying, if you're not saying out loud that we need to defund, divest, boycott, and sanction Israel, then you are an unserious person who should be supported by literally nobody. That what we are doing is Nazi apologetics at this point. And it's pretty telling that when Justin Trudeau actually stood up and finally voted for a ceasefire, that he immediately had to kowtow to Netanyahu and be like, oh, I'm so sorry, I had to respond to my electorate, instead of saying, like, this is a dramatic genocide that you're committing. This is a brutal genocide, and we're just putting up with it. We're just like, oh, it's just a little rinky-dink of a situation here. It's a complex situation, you know? Both sides get fucked. Yeah, was the Holy Land meant to be a wasteland? Yeah. Here, hold on. Let's back this up. This even happened inside the parish complex of the Holy Family, where there are no terrorists, but families, children, sick and disabled people, nuns. Ugh. A mother and her daughter, Mrs. Nadia Kalali Anton, and her daughter Samar Kamal Anton, were killed and other people injured by IDF snipers while going to the restroom. Literally the brave soldiers of the Israeli army sniping women and children while they're peeing. The bravery, the absolute, yeah. Pope Francis being based, what a surprise. I mean, what else is he for? What's the point of the papacy? What's the point of this institution, right? Like, there does come a point where we have to start asking literally every institution that exists, why are you here? What is your role? What is it you're supposed to do, right? And if the papacy isn't going to stand up and actually do exactly this, right, then what are they here for? Why don't we just strip the Vatican? Why don't we take all of the gold and all of the art and all of the plunder and all of the jewelry and all of the sex dungeons and all of the torture chambers and just strip them and melt them down? Explain to me why we shouldn't just do that en masse as a people, all at once. and just take their stupid little Pope hat and throw it in the bin and tell them to fucking die, right? If they're not even going to stand up and do this shit, which is the only reason they exist, near as I can tell. The only justification for their existence is specifically to stand up on behalf of their people and actually say, "Hey, that genocide's a genocide, you know. That's not a good thing." Literally their only job, and the bar is that low for these people, and they're managing it. So good for them. We'll let you keep your creepy little art palace. Good for you. The convent of the Sisters of Mother Teresa was damaged and their generator was hit. Like, can you imagine? Like, I remember, don't you guys remember when Russia was initially pushing in to the Donbass? There was a bombing that had happened near a Holocaust memorial site that didn't damage the Holocaust memorial site at all, right? It was just near it. And the American press like lost its fucking mind, and it persisted for a long time that the Russians blew up a Holocaust museum, a Holocaust place. And I had to like show them the article that said, no, a guy went down there, it's totally fine. The bombing happened literally down the street. It was a communications tower, right? And the site didn't even get any damage. It's completely fine. Well, here's the IDF straight up damaging the convent of the Sisters of Mother Teresa, and hitting their generators. Just fucking dead silence. Like the news media just being like, yeah, whatever, you know, Israel has the right to defend itself. Does it? Does it? Some say it's terrorism, it's war. Yes, it's war, it's terrorism. This is why Scripture states that God makes wars cease. He breaks bows and breaks spears. Let us pray to the Lord for peace. Congratulations, Pope. You did the bare minimum. Absolutely the barest minimum. The only reason your institution exists and can be justified at all is for you to stand up and do this. In the softest possible terms. Like let's be real clear about this before we start jerking the Pope off, okay? Literally the guy stood up and said, oh man, some serious stuff's going on in Gaza, you guys. Unarmed civilians being bombed, we got disabled people getting shot, right? The IDF sniped 2 people while they were pissing in a restroom. Brutal, right? Hey, they damaged church property. Come on, man. They damaged church. I gotta say something about that, right? You can't damage church property and have the Pope not talk about it, right? And then he goes, just because it's warring, we should have faith in God and look for peace. So, like, hey, quit it. Quit it. No, he's not saying something like, Israel is a demon state that must be purged from the earth or something. He's not saying like what they're doing is Nazism. This is brutal Nazism that should be stopped and halted, right? He's literally just going like that's it. So good for you, Pope. Bare minimum achieved. Dun 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 dun. Off to Valhalla with you. We're going to put you in the background. We'll put you back here. So I've been referencing this idea. Oh, yeah, this is one I just wanted to show real quick. I just want to come on now. Get out of here. Get out of here, fucking girl. There's always some, like... I got to talk about this, man. It doesn't matter what social media site you're on anymore, eh? You're, like, swiping, you're swiping, and then there's just, like, a girl who wants to show you her ass. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that great? Like, literally, we go from straight up Palestinian genocide, sexy girl ass. Society is weird and wild. Okay, 1954, here's the year. This is a map of this happening. Look, this map acknowledges the existence of Palestine. Holy shit. Conflict, unfolding, conflict. Let me know if the music's too loud, guys. Let me know if the sound's too loud. Okay? I feel like the sound might be too loud. Like, yeah, we're working out the what I like about this video the most is how, like, they're showing you the tanks, right? They're showing you the bombings, right? Like, that's something that doesn't often get talked about this ongoing genocide and this ongoing colonial project, right? Just straight up bomb, 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 bomb. Hey, we shot missiles at these people, right? Like, there were battle lines, right? That this has been an ongoing, never-ending war. You know, one of the things I find really funny, right? One of the things I find really, really funny about this whole conversation that we're all having about this thing is, like, everybody keeps talking about the Hamas tunnels and the Hamas tunnel system that exists under Gaza. And it's just kind of said offhandedly, like, yeah, the Hamas tunnel system, you know, there's a tunnel system that's happening, and Hamas is hiding in the tunnel system. Like, do you have any idea how fucking long it would take to actually build that tunnel system? Do you have any idea how long a project that actually is? Like, they're talking about this as if Hamas just went, like, tunnels, and they just built a tunnel system out of nowhere. Apparently it's like 300,000 kilometers or some ridiculous number like that of tunnel systems. It might be 30,000. I might be outrageous, but it doesn't matter. It's just an enormous amount of tunnel systems underneath Gaza. And it's just like, these people were obviously in a state of war for decades, obviously. Why else would they build a literal fucking tunnel system? Like, you're telling me that, well, they just built a tunnel system because they expected because when history starts on October 7th, right? Because history starts on October 7th, doesn't start a day earlier, right? When history starts on October 7th, Hamas was just ready for this retaliation from Israel and just ready with a giant tunnel system, right? That's what we're going with. That's what we're gonna do. Cool. Man, like, it's just brutal to watch stuff like this. To just know that, like, it's as clean as this. Like, it's as easy as this. Like, why isn't this on CNN? Why isn't this on Fox? Why isn't this on the front page? When you click on Israel-Gaza news, how come this isn't the first fucking thing that you see? How come there's all of this resistance to the idea of actually informing people of what happened, right? Not even going all the way back to, like, the 1890s or something, but just 1950. Like, how can anybody actually justify this as anything other than an obvious, dramatic colonial project, right? It's so obvious when you actually look at it year by year, and the way the cleansing has occurred and the way the mobilization has occurred, right? Like, it's just so plain. It's like smacking you in the face with how obvious it is. But history began October 7th, right? So if history begins October 7th, then Israel has the right to defend itself, and this isn't Hamas are the terrorists. Hamas are the terrorists. That's absolutely what's going on. And there's two videos that I really, really wanted to show you guys. I think we'll start with this one. This guy says some really awesome stuff. Just really kick-ass. So I'm gonna go through this one with you guys, because it's just great. It's just great. You know what I mean? Like, when somebody actually lays some information out in a way that's just so, like, well, magnificent.
Atrocities continue to mount in the Strip. The IDF just released the names and ranks of casualties from today, and it is wild. There's a lieutenant colonel, 3 majors, a captain, 2 non-commissioned officers, and then a pretty high-ranking non-commissioned officer. And you might be like, wait, where are all the privates and the corporals and the lower enlisted? Well, I'm going to get to that. I'm going to unpack this whole thing. But this is Stalingrad, dude. This is Stalingrad. This is a battle everybody studies because it was a huge blunder for the German army. They invade Russia, and they bomb and shell Stalingrad into rubble. Sounds familiar. And one of the biggest advantages the German had were their tanks and their armored vehicles, which, because of the rubble, couldn't really maneuver like the way they should have. And they really nerfed themselves against the Russians because the Russians knew their own rubble of their own city better than they ever would. So they had like ambush positions, fixed fighting positions, and scary sniper positions. And that is actually one of the defining aspects of the battle, because these Russian snipers would just target the officers and leave the lower enlisted men alone. And, you know, it would break morale as their officers kept having to get replaced over and over and over again. The only time you see casualty profiles just like this is with snipers. Lieutenant Colonel, Golani Brigade's 13th Battalion. Major, Golani Brigade's 13th Battalion. Major, Golani Brigade's 51st Battalion. So on. This usually speaks to military incompetence because the officers have to go to the front lines and expose themselves.
The IDF and military incompetence? What?
In order to deal with a certain type of situation that no one else can figure out. And this happens when you don't have a very strong officer or non-commissioned officer corps. So like in Ukraine, that's why we were seeing so many like generals and field grade officers being taken out by snipers, because they'd always have to be going to the front to deal with situations. And then the Ukrainian snipers would just take them out. And when that was going on, CNN, MSNBC, Fox had every military advisor pundit saying the same thing on live TV. However, you're not going to be seeing any military advisors on these news networks talking about the same exact procedure. They're just creeping through the ruins, taking out field grade officers and leaving the lower enlisted alone. That's actually very disciplined and sophisticated. When we're talking about military...
Yeah, it's almost as though Hamas, right, which is like the Palestinian Defense Organization, is actually a sophisticated organization, a sophisticated military organization that's highly motivated, right? It's not a rabble.
Incompetence. I want you to look at the ages of these people.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Colonel, 35 years old. One of my best friends was a West Point artillery officer. He didn't even make major until that. We have two majors who are 23 years old. What? That's insane. We have a 19-year-old sergeant. I was still in basic training when I was 19. I didn't even make sergeant in the Rangers until I was like 22. They're just a bunch of kids with no training. I mean, this makes a lot more sense. Well, there you have it, folks. You're not defeating Hamas with that when nobody in the military has the maturity or the practical experience for the positions they're supposed to be occupying. That's why no progress is being made, but the only thing they can do is listen to their gospel AI targeting program and drop the bombs where it tells them to drop the bombs. Seriously, just a bunch of thugs with a bunch of weapons and advanced gear that they don't deserve and that are too good for them. Oh yeah, and here's a picture of soldiers from that Golan Defense Brigade that's been getting sniped so hard. This is them inside the Hamas parliament, you know, just taking victory pictures for the fans back home. Man, you guys are really asking for it. Freaking 23-year-old majors? Like, what is this, the 19th century British colonial army where you can just purchase commissions if you're wealthy enough?
Yeah. I love it. This guy lays it out pretty nicely, right? That the IDF is incompetent. Monsieur Balls, as sophisticated a comment as ever. Well, most of the IDF are reservist scumbags. The officers have to lead by example and are easy meat. Yeah. Hey, bud, how you doing? Always enjoy when Monsieur Balls is in the chat. Isaac, good to see you, my man. Israel hiring foreign mercenaries. Yeah, you know you're desperate. Like, everybody should read Machiavelli's The Prince, right? Machiavelli, especially as we go into more dramatic war, that war is going to become more prevalent in our day-to-day lives, in our day-to-day society. You should know more about mercenaries and how mercenaries actually operate and how mercenaries are actually thought of. And some of the most cogent writing on mercenaries was actually done by Machiavelli, and Machiavelli is The Prince. That mercenaries are unreliable, that you should, if you are finding yourself in a position where the backbone of your military operations are being done through mercenaries, chances are good you've lost. Chances are good that you've lost. That mercenaries only have loyalty to themselves. So I like this video a lot because it sets up, it sets something up really interestingly. So if you are telling me that the bulk of the IDF are these young kids, right? Literally a 35-year-old lieutenant colonel, a 23-year-old major, 19-year-old sergeant. I work with 19-year-olds. The idea that a 19-year-old could be a sergeant, that means that the privates that they're working with are kids, are literally fresh-faced recruit children, essentially, that they're barely of age. Literally, it's like, happy birthday, here's your rifle, get to the front line. That's what we're looking at. If you're telling me that a captain, like Captain Jean-Luc Picard, 22, here's your starship, captain. Here's your naval vessel, captain, right? Here's your platoon, captain, 22, right? These are kids. These are children. So what are we teaching these children? What are these children learning at their military school? Well, let's find out.
Is the most important educational facility. This is an army academy in which army officers are sent to study the Torah and the Talmud. You have rabbis teaching these lectures, and I'm just going to give you some quotes directly from the Hebrew so you can evaluate what kind of messages are being put forth and passed on. So here's...
Haltosis, we're for sure going to get into what Yemen is doing. Yeah, much love to Yemen right now. Yemen is just balls to the walls, doing something really amazing.
Rabbi Eliezer Castiel, and this is what he has to say to his students. Due to the abolition of legal slavery, there are now deficiencies since no one is responsible for the property, right? Humans' property. With the help of God, it will return. Slavery will return. So who are going to be these slaves? The non-Jews will want to be our slaves, he says. Being the slave of a Jew is the best. They must be slaves. They want to be slaves. Instead of wandering the streets, being foolish and violent, harming one another, now his life begins. All around us, there are nations with genetic problems. Ask any simple Arab where he wants to be. He wants to be under the occupation. Why? Because they have a genetic problem. They don't know how to run a country. They don't know how to do anything. Look at the state of them. Sounds kind of racist. Yeah, he goes on. He says, yeah, of course racism exists. Are we unaware that there are different races in the world? Is it a secret? Is it untrue? What can you do? It's true. Yes, we're racists. We believe in racism. Correct. There are races in the world, and nations have genetic attributes. So it requires of us to consider how to help them. Racial differences are real, and this is precisely a reason to offer help. Wow. That's really something.
So slavery was good. We should return to slavery. And we, being the best people, should help people by enslaving them. This is being taught at the military academy by a rabbi to the IDF.
This is the premier military academy. Surely this can't be the bulk of what they're teaching, right? So we move on. Here's another rabbi, Giora Redler, and what he teaches about the Holocaust. He said,
"Oh, this is great." Conton writes, "Those mercs also went on record saying they fought alongside neo-nasties. Well done, Conton. I think you cracked the code. Everybody, Conton cracked the code. I shouldn't say it out loud, right? I shouldn't say it out loud. Good for you, Conton, cracking the code, because maybe the AI will figure out the code, right? But you did it. You did it. Those nasties being nasties." That's how we're gonna do this, guys. We're gonna sidestep the shadow ban, the AI. We're gonna sidestep it by creating a new code, right? Well, they're not saying Nazis; they're saying nasties. So nasty. Gotta get nasty. Isaac writes, Israel is combing for retired military psychopaths and unemployed suffering from PTSD personnel in Latin America. Yeah, only democracy in the Middle East. Ben. Eggsy's got another good one. Not Z's. They're not Z's. Okay, let's listen to what Giora Redler has to say. I bet this isn't going to be dramatically psychopathic.
says the Holocaust wasn't really about killing the Jews. That's not the Holocaust. All those excuses that it was ideological or systematic, that's nonsense. Because it was out of ideology, in a way, it was more moral than if it was just people just murdering. Humanism, the whole secular culture of believing in man, that is the Holocaust, he says. The real Holocaust is to be pluralistic, to believe in man. That is called Holocaust. For many years already, God has been screaming that the diaspora is over, but people don't listen to him. And that is their disease, which must be cured by the Holocaust. Jewish people living anywhere in the world other than the state of Israel, that's a disease. And the cure for this disease is to genocide said Jews. You know, about his revisionist.
I really want that to be heard, right? I don't want to walk by that point or downplay that point. That what these people are saying is that Jews that do not live in Israel should experience the Holocaust as a punishment or as an incentive to drive them to Israel. Huh? This is what they're teaching their children, of which makes up most of the IDF. Isn't this just the best thing ever? Isn't this the greatest? So, clear argument that any Jew outside of Israel should experience a Holocaust. This is what they're teaching in their schools. Like, are we understanding the depths? Do you see how there's no bottom to this well? Do you understand how deep this goes? That you're not actually going to hit the bottom of the depravity? That it's just gonna keep going and keep going and keep going? Like, when I began this journey, right? When I began this journey, I was under the hopeful delusion that there was a bottom. I'm yet to find it. Every organization we walk into is full of this stuff. Every organization we walk into is full of this stuff. Where's the bottom? Where do we actually reach a human being saying, well, yeah, okay, we need to be a human being after all?
This is you're going to get. That's pretty sickening stuff. And then he goes on. In relative terms, the logic of the Germans was internally consistent. Hitler said that a group of people, a certain group in the population, is the source of evil for all humanity. They cause evil to humanity, and therefore they must be exterminated. So let's start with the question. He says, was Hitler right or not? Seems like a pretty obvious answer, right? But you'll be surprised. He says, he is the most righteous person possible.
For clarity, they're teaching that Hitler was the most righteous person possible. Just for clarity, they are teaching the IDF and the children of Israel that the most righteous person possible is Adolf Hitler.
Of course he was right in every word he said.
He was right.
Adolf Hitler. What does he mean by this? There is the masculine world that wages war, that is concerned with respect. And then there is the soft, moral, feminine world of turning the other cheek. And it's the Jews that carry on that tradition, trying to ruin all of humanity, and therefore they are the real enemy. He's on the wrong side, but otherwise he is 100% correct. He's saying that the correct way to be is strong, to believe that might makes right. And if you, in fact, believe in being merciful to the other, then that is the most evil thing that humanity can do, okay? And so Hitler was incorrect in ascribing that feminine, merciful quality to Jews. That attitude, to believe that might makes right and that mercy is evil, that's 100% correct, according to Rabbi Giora Redler at Israel's top military academy. Okay, David, surely, these are just, two exceptions to the rule. There must be more. Unfortunately, these aren't the exceptions. These are the rules. So we'll hear from another rabbi at that academy, Yosef Kellner.
Oh, come on, Cotton. Come on, man. It's just getting good. It's just getting good now, man. Like, now we're starting to realize it, right? Now we're starting to see, right? Now we're actually starting to see that this isn't like a oh, we gotta go around yeah, like, share, subscribe, by the way, guys, for the horror. For the horror! Welcome to the Canadian commie, where you will live in a state of unending horror. Like, the yeah, no wonder, right? No wonder. This is systemic. It's built into their culture. It's built into the society. Like like this is wild and crazy shit right here. That like no one at any point just walked into their school and was like, "Hey, are you guys teaching that Hitler is good?" "Oh, you are." They're teaching that Hitler is good, actually. Straight up. Like, straight up. It doesn't get more hysterically ridiculous than this. You guys just say that everything you don't like is Nazism. like like the West has lost all credibility. All credibility. There is nothing that any Western institution anywhere is allowed to say that they should cease speaking, they should sit down and remain silent. That is where we are at right now with the entirety of the entire Western edifice. If what they are supporting and funding is literally teaching children that Adolf Hitler is good, actually.
And he has a lecture on another topic. He says, to not follow the Torah and commandments is lack of morality and national treason. So if you're a Jewish person and you don't follow all the minutiae of rules and regulations written in the Talmud, then you are a traitor to the Jewish people. In fact, it's called genociding a people, he says. That's genocide, to be a secular Jew.
I love this. We got a loser in chat here, Black Light Lifestyle. If you don't like capitalism so much, please explain what's better. We're literally watching a video how the system of capital supports schools teaching children that Hitler is good, actually. Like, sit down and be quiet. Just childish. Sit down and be quiet.
You are not a national criminal, you are an international criminal. It's called crime against humanity. So now, can a nation protect itself from the traitors within? According to most, traitors are sentenced to a bullet in the head, everywhere. For those who betray them, every sanction is legitimate, up to a bullet in the head. So, slavery, thumbs up, we need to bring it back. The Holocaust, Hitler was 100% correct, the most moral person possible. And if you're a secular Jew, you are sentenced to death. You deserve to die. If I'm summarizing the ideology of the top military academy in the state of Israel. Again, you're going to say, oh, this is some outlier. Surely this academy isn't important. Surely these people are condemned. Come on. This is the headmaster of the academy, Eli Sadan. And here he is a couple years ago receiving the Israel Prize, the highest prize in the country, receiving it from the education minister. Prime Minister.
Literally the education minister giving rewards and accolades to this guy. What if you think there's a better system, then you better explain it. You better explain what your better system is. Fucking idiot.
Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu is...
Oh my god. Bye-bye, fucking moron. These morons, man. They just come in and they're the dumbest dullards. Go read some Michael Parenti. Go read some Michael Hudson. Go read anything. Like, you're not going to listen. You're obviously a moron, right? Like, you're obviously a dumb moron, right? You're not actually going to listen to anything I have to say. You're just going to keep jerking off, right? You're probably jerking off right now. You're just going to keep doing that and just listening to what Western media has to tell you while they literally support a genocide that you're too stupid to understand what is going on, right? Too dumb, too stupid to engage with. Go read a book.
Is there congratulating him. But the headmaster did not allow Bennett, the education minister, and he did not allow Netanyahu, the prime minister, to speak to the students. The only politician he allowed to speak to the students was his favorite politician, previously the chief rabbi of the Israeli army. Now, Netanyahu just made him the most recent education minister, Rafi Peretz. What does he do now that he's our education minister? He gives a prize to who? Who does he give a prize to? This man, Yitzhak Ginsburg. Now, if you're going to remember one name, maybe just this one, because this is probably the most racist rabbi in the country. He published a book called The King's Torah, or Torah HaMelech. And this book, it's like a theological treatise. It asks the question, Under what circumstances may a Jew kill a non-Jew? He comes to the conclusion that pretty much under any circumstance, he writes there is justification for killing babies if it is clear that they will grow up to harm us. This is the man who receives a prize from Israel's education minister, essentially, publishing a Gentile murdering manual. Oh, so what, they didn't report this in the Basler Zeitung? Is this not ridiculous that I have to fly all the way over here and burn up all these fossil fuels to explain this to you, this basic stuff?
Isn't it great? So it's not even just an individual school. It's literally the Ministry of Education itself. Ministry of Education, school system, what do you end up with? You end up with kids going to commit a genocide in Palestine, indoctrinated with an ideology that says slavery is good, we are the chosen people, we are allowed to enslave people, and it's for their benefit. We're fucked. The situation's fucked. Right? There's no, you're not going to reason people out of this. You're not going to reason the culture. You're not going to reason Israel out of this. Right? The entire culture is awash in it. That they are completely, they have fallen for this delusion en masse altogether. Right? Literally any system would be better than this. Literally any system would be better than this. This blacklight lifestyle guy coming in. Let's actually engage with this question, even though he's probably long gone because he's a fucking loser. If you like capitalism so much, please explain what's better. Literally anything would be better, my man. Literally anything. Your system supports genocide. Your system is a system of ethnic cleansing, right? Like here's the ethnic cleansing that's been going on, right? In this system. Right? Here's the ethnic cleansing that's been going on for decades and generations, and incidentally has also been happening across America. They did exactly this to the First Nations people, right? They enslaved the black population, right? Literally any system would be better than this one. This is a system of genocide, slavery, death and destruction, which you love apparently. So you're definitely worth talking to. You fucking moron. Get the fuck out of here. Jesus Christ, man. Like, at this stage in the game, to be anything, like, I understand skepticism. I can understand somebody coming in and being like, your position seems extreme to me. Can you explain your position? But this haughty arrogance, this illiterate confidence that these people come in here with, while their culture is literally ethnic cleansing a society in front of our eyes in real time, and we've documented it and there's footage, right? Like, humble yourself. You're dumb, illiterate, stupid, and not worth talking to. Go read a book. Go read some Michael Parenti. Go read some Michael Hudson. Go read Howard Zinn's People's History of the United States. Go read Caliban and the Witch. Go read anything, literally anything. Pick up literally any book that begins with the premise that capitalism we should criticize capitalism, right? Read the Communist Manifesto. Maybe actually read anything outside of the menu screen in a Call of Duty lobby, right? Actually use your capacity for reading for something other than just being a dumbass moron, which you obviously are. This is the best part about these illiterate dumbass rubes, is that they actually think they're going to come in here and do anything. They actually think they're going to be persuasive. They actually think that they're going to manage anything outside of just convincing everybody around them how stupid they are. You did it, bud. You're the dumbest moron I've talked to all week. Congratulations. Thumbs up. Second dumbest. There's a guy on Twitter who's trying to convince me that Michael Malice, right? A guy using a fake name from Fox News called Michael Malice, who wrote an anti-communist book, is as intelligent as Harvard scholars. That's moronic. You're just a dullard who's incapable of understanding how to talk to people properly. Probably an insult, too. Fuck off. Hail Tosis writes, having once been indoctrinated, I have some compassion for the Israeli kids. Just a bit. Honestly, they should know better. But your parents and leaders told you that stuff. Who would you turn out to be? Yeah. No, when I was 25, when I was 23, I still believed that Jesus Christ was coming back at any moment, right? It wasn't until I was 23 that I was able to kind of break free from it. And it took a lot of effort. It took a lot of effort. It took a lot of force. It took a lot in order to get to that point. And so this idea that we're sending 19-year-old kids as sergeants out to the front line, right? Yeah, they believe everything they've been told because they're surrounded by it and they've got no reason not to believe it, right? Cuckery is buckery. Always a pleasure. I don't understand your point. Cuckery is buckery. I agree with Blacklight. How is it genocide, but we have 8 billion people? What are you talking about? Thoughts on the Canadian government supporting a ceasefire? Yeah, the barest minimum. Like, that's basically where we're at right now, is that institutions that want to remain credible in the most minor of degrees are doing the barest possible minimum, understanding that the barest possible minimum that they're actually doing is not going to influence the final decision, right? That Canada can stand up and be like, ceasefire, maybe. And everybody knows it's the United States that has the final say, right? Everybody knows that the United States is the one funding this. Everybody knows that it's the project of the United States. Everybody knows that they're the ones with the veto power. They're the ones with the influence. They're the ones pushing this agenda. Everybody knows this, right? And so Canada standing up and trying to save face in front of its own people, saying, hey, maybe a ceasefire, is the absolute fucking barest minimum. Literally just the basement of rational, reasonable thought. Like right, and not like standing up in the basement, like literally face on the pavement of the concrete, unfinished basement of moral thinking. Ceasefire. Absolutely. But there's a billion other things that we can do. There's a ton of other things that we can do. We can divest from Israel. We can boycott them. We can sanction them. We can stop trading with them. We can stop trading with other people who are trading with them. We can say out loud, we refuse to invest a dime in the direction of this genocide. We refuse to support an apartheid state. We refuse outright and forcefully to support any society that has these outcomes. Are we doing that? Obviously not, because we're an immoral shitbag culture who supports snake oil salesmen. And the only reason Justin Trudeau is even standing up and going, maybe ceasefire, is because his own constituents are saying, hey, what the fuck? Whoa, what the fuck, man? Holy shit. What kind of scumbag weasel are you? Holy shit. And Justin's going, well, I gotta, when he picked up the phone and called Netanyahu after he called for that ceasefire, and Netanyahu was like, how dare you? We are the chosen people. And Justin probably went, well, I've got these constituents, and the constituents are very concerned, baby. The constituents are very concerned, baby. We got, and then Netanyahu hung up the phone and then pressed a button to missile children in a hospital. Like, it's just fucking. I love it. We got a guy on Twitch. Omega lol, communism and socialism, like that has ever worked. You can go read Michael Parenti's Black Shirts and Reds. Communism has worked every single time it's been tried. You're just illiterate. You don't know anything about communism. You don't know the first thing. If I were to challenge you, it would become really obvious really fast. You don't know anything. But you think you do. That's the best part. That's the best part about these illiterate chuds that come in here. They don't know anything. Challenge me, little pup. No, you're stupid. Goodbye. Like, you're obviously illiterate. You obviously don't know anything about the subject. Get the fuck out of here. I don't need some cocky, arrogant little prick coming in here and wasting my time. Fuck off. Read a book. Go read Michael Parenti's Black Shirts and Red. Get an education. Fuck you. I don't understand this comment. You say it's a genocide, but why is the world population 8 billion? I think I'm just too hot-headed at the moment. I don't care to parse this information. I don't care to sit here and be like, is this like a Ben Shapiro, like, oh, you say you don't like capitalism and yet you eat food? Curious. Is that the meme? Is that what we're going for? Yeah. Also, did you see the interview where both Michael Hudson and Richard Wolff explained the different issues that China is currently fascist through a Marxist analysis? I did not see this. That Michael Hudson and Richard Wolff had a conversation about China. I'd love to hear that, because those guys are the masters, right? Richard Wolff, Michael Hudson, China. Like, when these two guys speak, when Richard Wolff and Michael Hudson speak, you listen, right? And if you don't, then you're dumb. Is China's economy collapsing? Is what we're talking about here, bud? Is this the one? Let me know, Eric. Geez, the comment got censored. Yeah, we got to use a code in the chat. Yeah, if all sin was actually equal, little white lies would devastate your aunt as badly as her watching her granny get permabanned from Maine. Ben says the Israelis took such incredible offense to Trudeau suggesting that they maybe should think about considering using some restraint in Gaza. Yeah. But is this the video, dude? I meant to say faces, not fascist. That's quite a Freudian slip there, Eric. Autocorrect, eh? Autocorrect gets us in all kinds of trouble. But in any case, I still would like to see this video. This. No. We're not gonna get out of here. I'm not gonna play it right now, obviously, because it's probably like a lengthy. Oh no, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. I'm gonna save you for later. See if I can find a clip or something to show you guys. Oh. So far, we've had to ban 2 losers from the chat today. Good day. We're having a good day. Ron DeSantis signs law allowing trans kids to be taken from their families. Normal. It's a normal society. A normal. It's a normal place in the human race. It's normal. We're normal. It's normal up in here. And I know it's old, right? May 17th, 2023, right? Ben being like, John, that's old news. We're here to talk about new news, John. This is a new news station. I didn't come here to rehash old news from May, Jonathan. You know, because if and also, John, history started October 7th, you know? So this is doper old news. Yeah, this has been in place for a little while now. Yep, fantastic. Gatnaranja, Florida is mostly old people waiting to die. Don't forget the Gusanos. Don't forget the Gusanos, my man. There's lots of Gusanos running around in Miami, right? That's where, what's his name? Bolsonaro is now. Bolsonaro's running around in Miami. How much do you want to bet, guys? Here's something to look forward to, right? Really, let's all look forward to this, because I bet it's going to happen that Bolsonaro is going to run for governor in Florida and win. How much you want to bet that shit's going to happen? That we're going to get Governor Bolsonaro. That Trump's going to get in for 4 years, and then DeSantis will take a run at being the president, probably win, because the Democrats suck. And then while he's off being president, Bolsonaro will come up and become king of the Gusanos in Florida. Huh? How do you like this narrative? How do you like this? That this is the way forward. with Vice President Kanye West. Eric writes of this conversation between Richard Wolff and Michael Hudson. It was a fabulous interview. They do have some of the most interesting critique about China, and the feel of the interview is like two friends finally meeting each other after a long time and finally have an adult conversation. As rare as it gets. As rare as it gets. Oh, hey, we've got some Spanish in the chat. I, unfortunately, gentlemen, do not speak Spanish. So I don't have any idea what you're saying. Yeah. I don't know the first thing of what you're saying. Hope you guys are doing well out there. It's Italian. My bad. My bad. My bad. No, my bad. I already said my bad. I'm bad. My bad. Italian. And I know how you guys are with you're very you want to defend your culture. I understand. It was a fabulous interview. I already read this. I don't know if you've noticed that every time the U.S. sends someone to promote war is a person of color. Yeah, people whose parents wouldn't serve at a restaurant not long ago. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to breaking the news, right? Defense Secretary Austin announced a new international task force to protect shipping from Houthi attacks in the Red Sea. So I love that they're using the word Houthi, right? And not just like Yemeni. They don't want Americans to find these places, right? Everything needs to be like that's why they say Hamas and not Palestine, right? That's why they say Houthi and not Yemeni, right? That's the reason why we're constantly in this state of being like, who? What are you talking about? Right? We can't actually have like a reasonable conversation about a reasonable a place based on geography. Because if Americans actually knew geography, they actually knew what was going on in the world based on the way the world looks, right? Everything would be a little smidge differently, I think. But you got to keep people illiterate and dumb. And so Houthi, well, Houthi, that sounds like the planet Hoth or something. It sounds like a Star Wars thing. We're gonna go fight the Houthi out in the world somewhere. So here's what's going on, and I think it's super cool. I think it's super cool. Oh, it's the leader's speech. Oh, which leader? Which leader, Cadawena? Are you a Nazi? Is that's what's happening? I'd love to ban a straight Nazi today. It's been a lot of dumbasses today, but haven't got a real Nazi today. So here's Israel, right? So Israel, right? It's got a port. Boop. Boat. Gets into... We're all familiar with the Suez Canal, right? Boat. And it wants to send boats through the Suez Canal, right? To go this away, right? But to go that away, right? It wants to go straight down here, right? So that it can get its to China. So it can get over to China. Just boop. Nice and easy, right? Boop. And then it uses the Suez Canal to send things over America's way. Boop. Or to receive America's way. Boop. Real clean, real easy, right? So the Yemeni, the Houthi, right? The Yemeni are basically saying, nah, fuck you. Fuck you. Straight up. You genocidal mass murdering psychopaths. Fuck you. You want to send an Israeli boat down this way? I'm a little trade boat. I'm shaped like the mouse cursor. Look at me. I'm just going to go here. Then we're going to hit you right here. You see this little choke point right here? See how this goes? You see how there's like a little island here? You see all this kind of stuff? Isn't this just perfect for like a perfect little ambush? Right? And that's what they're doing. They're straight up raiding the boats. They're straight up blowing up boats. Like they're straight up just like, yeah, we'll put guys with bazookas right there and just shoot whatever boat comes by. Oh, you're an Israeli boat? Glug, 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 glug. Steal. Right? Right? Oh, we got some Mussolini fans in the chat. With absolute pleasure, my guys, I ban you from my chat. Goodbye, you fucking fascists. Farewell, you fucking Nazis. I hope really bad things happen to you. Stop spreading your filth around. Fuck off. Fucking filth. So, boats. Glug, 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 glug. Steal, steal, steal. Right? And that's coming from the Houthi. From Yemen. Right? Yeah, Yemen, not a big fan of imperialism. Right? Having experienced starvation recently thanks to capitalist imperialism. Not a big fan of the massive genocide that's happening. So, the Houthi, I'm doing my part. How about you? Right? And what this has led to is it's led to straight up major shipping companies, right? Like the number one shipping company, name escapes me right off the moment. Number one shipping company saying, we are not transporting Israeli goods. We are not accepting Israeli goods. We are not going to move goods through this corridor so that we can get bazookaed, so that we can get shot at by Yemeni. We are not doing trade with Israel, straight up. So what's this forcing them to do? If they want to send goods to China, well, it's forcing them to go down and then back up through the Suez Canal, right? Back over this way, going all the fucking way around the Horn of Africa, and then all the way over to China. It's essentially tripling their fuel costs. Get fucked. Get absolutely fucked, Israel. And they don't like it. And so what's America doing? What's the rational American response? We got to liberate. We got to go in there. Those evil Houthi. We're going to go in there and we're going to liberate the Gulf of Aqaba, right? From the Houthi. Ha. Like time to liberate. Like, just get completely wrecked. Get completely wrecked. That straight up is a trade embargo done by the trade companies themselves because they don't want to get their shit blown up by, like, Yemeni pirates. It's amazing. Yet you can't guard prosperity that's already gone. And so what this means, of course, right, as this conflict expands into the region, right, like as Israel continues to antagonize its neighbors, Lebanon, Jordan, Israel, Syria, right, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, like Turkey's right here, Cyprus, like as it alienates everybody around it and loses allies very quickly in the region, straight up, the war against them is expanding, right? How much longer until Somalia is into this? How much longer until Sudan and Ethiopia, Kenya? How much longer until there's serious action coming out of places like Egypt, Iraq? How much longer until there's something serious that's actually happening? We literally have Vladimir Putin. We literally have Putin saying out loud that he is going to support the Palestinians in Israel. I don't have that video in front of me. If somebody wants to direct me to it. Like, yeah, adding 11 plus days of transport time is the kind of thing that will provoke the United States to invade, of course. Like, look what happened when the truckers blocked a bridge, right? There's a bridge. Was it this bridge? I don't know if it was this bridge, but it was one of the bridges. Was it Brockville? I forget which bridge it was. Let's pretend like it was this bridge. The truckers blocked this bridge for a day and had their bank accounts seized, right? Are literally going to trial for mischief for blocking a single bridge for a single day, right? Here's the Yemeni blocking international trade through a major port. Saudis were bombing Yemen. I don't know the current situation. Yeah, the Saudis are going to do what's right for the Saudis. That's what it is. I'll be very curious to see. Like, I've said it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and I will say it until the day I die. The Saudis are Machiavellian geniuses. That they understand better than anybody else in the region. They understand power. They know how to use power. They know how to wield power. They know they know how to be on the right side of power. And I'll be extremely curious to see how this shift in public opinion against Israel, because it's a dramatic shift, guys. Like I can't begin to tell you how dramatic a shift it actually is, right? The survey conducted this week by Harvard Harris Polling found 51% of Americans between the ages of 18 and 24 said they believed the long-term answer to the Israel-Palestinian conflict was for Israel to be ended and given to Hamas and the Palestinians. Only 32% said they believed in a two-state solution, and just 17% said other Arab states should be asked to absorb Palestinian populations. So a majority, a scant majority, but a majority nonetheless, of people between the ages of 18 to 24, so the youths of today, essentially saying, destroy Israel. Goodbye, Israel. Israel is to be ended and given to Hamas and the Palestinians. Like, that is a dramatic shift in public opinion against Israel. That is an enormous shift. That means people between the ages of 18 and 24, what that means is that if suddenly Jordan and Syria and Egypt were to rise up, go in here and destroy the IDF and wipe them out and redraw the map and give it back to Palestine and rename Israel Palestine, half of that population would go, cool. That means you lose. Like, you've lost that public relations war. You've lost on that front. And the people who are most like rah Israel, rah, are dying. They're old. Who are they being replaced by? People who are totally fine if you get wiped out. Like, I cannot express to you how fragile the situation is for Israel. I cannot express to you how devastating it will be to live in Israel in the future. All it will take for Israel to become extremely vulnerable. Like, right now, it's arrogant, it's haughty, it feels invulnerable because it's got the United States at its back. It's got the United States sitting there with its big bombs and its big weapons and its big funding. Well, what happens if that stops? Like, for real, what happens if that stops? What's this look like for these guys? You think it's going to go well? You think everything's going to be hunky-dory? Probably fucking not. Probably fucking not in a big dramatic sort of a way. Ugh. And remembering, like, this kind of stuff is penetrating the consciousness, right? This kind of stuff is penetrating the consciousness. Like, people are becoming more aware of the colonial project in the imperial core. So when people see a map like this, they put two and two together right away. That it's really obvious what we've done. It's really obvious what we are currently doing. And now we are filming and documenting it. Oh yeah, this conflict is also going to affect the U.S. around the world. Like, more and more and more, the United States is becoming isolated. Because the United States views itself as being able to dominate the world through military might. That's how it views itself, right? And it's not working anymore. It's not actually working anymore. That it literally can't. Turns out a population of 350 million can't dominate a population of 8 to 10 billion. Turns out that you can't actually manage it. It doesn't actually work. That there's too much going on. That you can't bomb the entire planet into submission. You simply don't have the productive capacity to do so, right? You can't just turn the whole map blue. Sorry, doesn't actually work that way, right? The world is not a game of Heart of Iron 4, right? The world is not a paradox game. That people are not going to accept it. And we can see that the instruments of United States domination are no longer working, right? Like, they can't even take out Venezuela anymore, right? 100 years ago, Venezuela would be a colony. It would be a vassal state dominated by the United States empire. Now it's an openly socialist government, literally having a conversation with its neighbor about annexation. Straight up, just in conversation about that, right? While the United States just watches, right? So the United States, what they're going to watch, right? They're going to watch Venezuela and Guyana have a conversation about this little line disappearing and this little line becoming more solid, right? Or this little line just disappearing and this whole thing just becoming absorbed. Right? That these little lines that were created by British imperialists in the first place are just going to disappear and this whole thing is going to become Greater Venezuela, right? And they're just doing it by sitting down and being like, so what do you think? I think we should do it. I think that it would be better for everybody, right? And essentially BP, Exxon, and all these oil companies are looking at the oil reserves that just showed up in Guyana that everybody just found, right? And they're just going, well, I guess we're losing all of that, right? I guess we can't do anything about that. Why? Because we can't actually defeat Venezuela. And boy, howdy, have we been trying. Boy, howdy, have we been trying. So the empire is so weak and so spread out and so incapable of actually achieving its objectives that it can't even defeat Venezuela. What do you think's going to happen here, you guys? What do you think this is going to look like going into the future? Right? Like it's going to be a total fucking disaster. Because that's what the United States has wrought on the rest of the world. Nothing but total disaster. And the rest of the world is isolating it. So it can't achieve military objectives any longer. It doesn't have the capacity to do so. Like, sure, maybe it can go into Mali or whatever, right? Like, maybe it can go find some, like, defenseless African nation and blow the shit out of it, right? Try to blow it into submission. But it can't defeat the Afghani people, right? Failed there. Failure, goodbye. Can't defeat the Iraqi people. That's a failure. They're going to be leaving there soon enough. Can't win in Syria, right? Failure there. Can't achieve objectives there, right? Can't win any of these objectives. Doesn't win wars. Sucks at it. And so their only other option is financialization, a financial domination through their international trade system, which the entire rest of the world is sidestepping. And basically just saying, yeah, let's just trade with each other. Like, why are we trading with America? Why are we including America in this deal at all? Who cares about the American dollar, right? Like, who gives a fuck about the American dollar? Let's just trade amongst ourselves. And everybody's going, yeah, that sounds great. Let's do that, right? Because while America is going into places and blowing the fuck out of them and trying to steal all their resources, China is straight up building rail systems. Just straight up, just like high-speed rail systems everywhere it goes. Just allowing resources to be traded throughout this region into Russia faster than by boat. Like, I read the Twitch stream, bud. How you doing? Pacho Cadaver. Oh, grim. China is going to invade other countries soon. No, they won't. What has convinced you of that? Because if it's Western media, then yeah, no. big fat no. There is no indication from China that they are gearing up to invade anybody. The only military actions that China seems interested in is shoring up the border here, right, with India and Nepal, because they're having little minor border disputes over resources. You can see it right here, right? Even Google Maps has it. There's little minor border disputes, and so they send some military personnel in here to just kind of like secure the border while they have a dispute with India, right? Classic. Nothing new there. That's been going on between China and India since time itself began, right? For as long as China has been an entity and India has been an entity, there has been border dispute, right? And they're trying to work it out. And at the end of the day, chances are good they'll come to a consensus by just splitting resources. Because that's what this is all about. The only reason there's a border dispute at all, and it's the same here. Like, look at all this. You see all these dotted lines? Border disputes. Border disputes. We're having big conversations. Don't want to lose. We want those resources for ourselves, right? But this isn't full-scale war. This is just like minor border scuffles, right? Like that's the most, even Canada and the United States have minor border scuffles. If you have a border, that's the reason why there's border friction, right? Like you literally just have friction with your neighbors because you share a border. And that's it. Like, that's it. You're just like, and you're having this negotiation, right? And then, of course, there's Taiwan, right? China is building islands on the Pacific, in the Pacific. Yeah, I suspect they are, bud, right? The United States has military bases all throughout this region. Here's Australia, right? Like, the United States is obviously gearing up for a major war with China. How do we know? Because they've said so. Right? Like, I always point out this document because people don't know it exists, but it's like probably the most important document that came out of the West in China. This is from the Rand Corporation, Thinking Through the Unthinkable. Thinking Through the Unthinkable. War with China. War with China. War with China. Thinking Through the Unthinkable. From the Rand Corporation. Your friends at the Pentagon. Yuck. Right? They published a document, right? According to the Pentagon, according to the Rand Corporation, according to the United States. Like, this is what I love about this channel. You know what I love about this channel, guys? This is what I love about this channel. And why I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so glad that you're coming in, and I'm so glad. And Pacho, I got to tell you, you are doing it right. You're coming in here and you're doing it right. You're not coming in here being like, communism never worked. You're a dummy, and because I've never read a book and I don't know anything. You're coming in with a thesis. I'm saying your thesis is wrong. You're asking for sources, and I'm showing you sources. Let's read it. Well, I'm not going to read the whole thing, okay, because it's a big document. But here, now you know it exists, right? So you can go read the whole thing yourself. War with China, Thinking Through the Unthinkable. Premeditated war between the United States and China is very unlikely, but the danger that a mishandled crisis could trigger hostilities cannot be ignored. Thus, while neither state wants war, both states' militaries have plans to fight one. Here's their plan. And the goal, okay, the goal is to wipe out China's trade capacity, which has influenced China to build the Belt and Road Initiative. Because they're like, yeah, if they're going to blow up all our boats, then we still need to be able to trade with the majority of the world's population, right? If we're going to get cut off from trade from Latin America and from the United States, then we need to have rail systems in place to be able to get into Africa, to be able to get into Europe, to be able to get into Russia, right? To be able to get into these places. And so that's what they're building, right? Can I put the link here? Dude, it's so easy. Just type in War with China, Thinking Through the Unthinkable, Rand Corporation. Like, it's going to be the first link. Yeah, fantastic. You go ahead and read that whole thing. They're definitely going to couch it in like, we're the good guys and we're trying to do the best for what's good in the world. We're absolutely the loveliest people who have never ever wanted to do any war whatsoever. We've never ever done a premeditated war of aggression against another nation. Certainly not Iraq, Afghanistan, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Libya, Syria. We've never launched an aggressive campaign against a competitor or for resources ever in our lives. Ever. Never. We've never done that. Ever. No. Like, what do you think all the Taiwan shit is about? Since the 1960s, because of Kissinger, because of Nixon, Taiwan has been considered part of China, right? That it was the one China policy. That the United States' position on China and Taiwan is that Taiwan is part of China, right? And it's the reason why China basically jerked Kissinger off when he died, right? Even though he's like obviously a villain. But now, since the Biden administration, right? And since the Obama administration, really, but it's the Biden administration that really ramped up the propaganda. Taiwan is now an independent nation. It's its own independent nation, free to make its own decisions, even though it doesn't have, like, it has an independence movement in it. People polled get asked about whether or not they want to be independent, and they go, nah, maybe, right? So, real independent country needing to be asked if they want to be independent. Yeah, real independent. China, of course, takes the position that Taiwan is part of China because guess what? Taiwan is part of China. The West, as you can see, they've given it its own fancy label here, as big and bold as, if you zoom out, when does Laos and Cambodia disappear? Okay. So Laos and Cambodia disappear, so does Taiwan, but the rest of these stick around. But if you zoom in one tick, there they are again. So they're just as important as Laos and Cambodia, right? As far as Google is concerned. That would be like if you went over to Canada and Quebec, it said Quebec. It wasn't like this faint little QC and you zoomed in. Like now it becomes Quebec. That would be like if Quebec right now was as bold and as big as Canada, right? That it was just Quebec. Quebec, 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 right? That's how seriously I would take that, right? But, we live in the imperial core, and so we have to put up with imperial bullshit. How old is this article? 2015? Yeah, 2015. It's the prevailing doctrine. I haven't seen anything that has changed the doctrine. Like, dude, like, a 10-year doctrine is pretty young. Like, it's a pretty young doctrine. Like, war policies go for decades and decades. You don't see anywhere it says the U.S. wants to invade China. No, I said explicitly what it was that they want to do. They want to blow up China's trade capacity. That's what they want to do. That they know that they can't get into mainland China. They know that they can't because of the nuclear deterrent, because of the nuclear threat. And so the goal is to destroy China's trade capacity in the South China Sea, right? To make it so that China doesn't have any trade boats anymore and to blow up its trade. I don't know, dude. Read it. Like, read the document. Do a Control F. Trade. Control F. Like my man. Instead of do trade, blah 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 blah. Key findings. It's been so long since I've actually looked at this. You know what, man? I'm not going to grind my show to a halt. You can read it. It's good. You can either read it yourself or you can just take what I'm saying. So you do you. Okay, bud. You read the entire document, eh? I love this. This is a new level of dumbassery right here. Guys that come... You read the whole fucking document. 116 pages. You read 116 pages. Get the fuck out of here. Control F, trade. Like, what is this level of dumbassery that we're all dealing with? Like, what are they teaching kids at schools these days, you wonder? Yeah, severe war would produce a shock to Chinese global trade, most of the transit. Like, it's right fucking here. Read it. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. People really need their hands held, eh? Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Bye-bye, dumbass. Like, people are fucking morons. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. The stupidity is what kills me the most. Literally the last comment, this guy says, you guys are going to love this. Can I actually show the comments again? No. The last comment, this guy says, well, that says would. Oh, it doesn't say what. That says what. The United States is literally gallivanting around the globe, bombing everybody, you dim-witted moron. It's literally bombing Iraq, Afghanistan. It's literally committing a genocide in Israel right now. It's bombing Libya. It's committing another genocide in Yemen. It's committing coups all across here, kidnapping people, committing coups all over here. And you think they release a document, but because it says would. No, it says would. It doesn't say that they're fuck you, you dumbass. You dim-witted moron. You're a guy that's literally watching a psychopathic murderer walking around your town, stabbing people, saying, "I'm coming to kill you! I'm coming to kill you!" Acting as an apologist for that guy. Saying things like, no, he's not saying he's coming to kill you. He says he might come to kill you. Fuck you, you dim-witted Nazi apologist. Fuck off my chat, never come back. Jesus fucking Christ. Ugh, Nazis are not allies. I had to tell them to F off at the Free Palestine protests. Yeah, of course. Keep in mind that Taiwan also claims that China belongs to them, right? So the relationship is that these two are intertwined inextricably, right? Either Taiwan owns China or China owns Taiwan, right? The United States has no claim. It literally has no claim whatsoever. And none of those claims include Taiwan being independent, right? Taiwan is either the owner of China or China is the owner of Taiwan. Where's the independence in that? Doesn't exist. It's the reason why the UN doesn't have like a Taiwan and doesn't acknowledge Taiwan, right? It's the reason why when the UN starts to get questioned about Taiwan as a country, they literally hang up the phone because they understand what's happening. They understand that what's going on is the West sending propaganda machines and trying to get a quote from some UN representative somewhere that indicates that Taiwan is independent. Like literally, we've got video after video of people being like, "Hello? Yeah, what do you think about Taiwan being a country?" Click. Jesus fucking Christ. The Nazi apologetics is what kills me. The Nazi apologetics. Literally, I'm showing this guy a Rand Corporation document that spells out explicitly the United States plan for war in China, right? But he's playing dumb. Being like, the United States isn't saying that it wants to do this plan, even though it's bombed Libya, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Yemen, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Korea, Japan. It dropped 2 nuclear bombs on Japan. Ukraine fomented a war between Russia and Ukraine. Don't forget about all of the bombing and all of the coups and destruction throughout Africa and Latin America. Oh yeah, and then the genocide of the First Nations people all across the United States. But just because it published a war document saying explicitly its plans of what it would do between a war between China and the United States doesn't mean it wants to do a war. Dumbass. Like, fucking stupid. You are a stupid person. Stop talking to people. Holy shit. Oh. No, Nazis, Zionists, Christian Zionists, evangelicals are welcome in South Shore NS weekly pro-Palestinian protests at Con MP, and no one says shit about it. The Taiwan Constitution says they own everything that was in China in 1911, including Siberia. That won't go over well with Russia. Yeah. But Daddy's not a bad person. Daddy would never do that, even though he's constantly doing that. Like, for real, man. Like, I need to write a script where there's just literally a masked serial killer just out in the open, broad daylight, just slaughtering people right in the middle of Times Square while people are, like, drinking coffee and, like, licking ice cream cones, and nobody pays him any mind. Maybe somebody looks over, right? And then somebody being like, hey, whoa, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? It's like, don't worry about it. Like, these are the countries that recognize Taiwan. Belize, Guatemala, Haiti, Marshall Islands, Nauru, Palau, Paraguay, St. Kitts, and Nevis. Yeah, and I'm sure they weren't doing that with like a gun against their head. I'm sure they weren't sitting there being like, we recognize Taiwan as an independent nation. We recognize Taiwan as an independent nation. I'm sure that's not the arrangement that happened. According to dumbasses, that's not the arrangement. Like, yeah, I love Houthis now. I don't mind paying Houthi tax on everything shipped. Yeah. Like, don't buy Israeli made shit. Like, if it's touched Israeli hands, do not purchase. No. Oh, yeah, and I forgot to mention the Monroe Doctrine, where it explicitly states that Latin America belongs to America. You know, they would never launch a war of aggression against anybody, even though that's all they've ever done constantly. Like, the dumbassness of the dumbassest of the dumbasses. It just the depths of dumbassery, man. The apologetics, the absolute inability of people to acknowledge that their dad is violent, that their dad is a psychopathic, violent, mass-murdering serial killer. And it's obvious and it's clear and it's completely plain. Plain as the nose on your face. And some of these fucking apologists are literally like, but that's a good thing. We like that our daddy is a Nazi. We like that. Right? Like, boy, howdy, are we do we ever deserve everything that's coming our way? We totally deserve everything that's coming our way. It's going to be an absolute shitstorm. It's going to be an absolute fucking shitstorm. Oh, that document says would, not will. That's different. Oh my God. Like, literally openly planning for how they're going to destroy China. What, you think China looks at that document and goes, oh yeah, that says would. That's just if things go bad. Yeah, they're definitely not going to invade us like they invaded Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Syria, Indonesia, where they committed that gigantic genocide in Indonesia that you don't know about because you're too dim-witted. Yeah, they dropped 2 nuclear bombs right over here, split Korea into 2, leveled North Korea into the ground and destroyed 20% of its population, literally dropped so many bombs on Laos and Cambodia that they ran out of bombs. There's so many undetonated landmines in Laos that people are still stepping on them to this day. Vietnam was reduced to total rubble. Hey, isn't that the Chinese border right there? But the document says would. It says would. Jesus Christ, we're dim-witted. Jesus Christ, we're dim-witted. Holy shit, the dim-wittedness. Just absolutely lights off, brain off, totally incapable of basic rational thought. And these people come in here and they think they're going to talk to me. Like... like, these people come in here with their proud illiteracy, their happy stupidity, their pleased moronic behavior, their arrogant pride, and they think that I'm actually going to tolerate their presence while they act like the dumbest person possible. Holy cow, we deserve it. We deserve it. We just deserve it, man. We deserve what's coming. We deserve the isolation. We deserve what's coming. Because this is what we're supporting. Right? This is literally what we're supporting. And what, you think that this isn't what's coming for us? You think that the United States isn't going to pivot that way? Right? You think that moronic behavior? A new bill in Oklahoma proposes to charge teachers personally from their own personal resources $10,000 per incident, per individual, if they teach any biology that offends Christian moral principles. Huh? Clearly unconstitutional. Like, obviously unconstitutional. Not that it matters. There's no laws. Iowa Republicans have introduced a bill that would put government-installed cameras in every single classroom to live stream school activities to parents, to spy on teachers and children at all times of the day. Proposed bill in Indiana: librarians can be jailed. Curriculums in lesson plans must be uploaded by January 30th so parents can review and opt their kids out. Oh, and Nazis can't be portrayed as low moral character. This shit's coming for us in a big, dramatic way. And it's going to sweep in. It's going to sweep in. We need to teach about the Dulles brothers in primary school. And how about William Barr, Jeffrey Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell got compromat on every elite decision maker that Netanyahu now has? My man. What a great question to ask right away. It's so nice when someone comes in and shows how illegitimate they are as a thinker and a person. Like, straight away. We're getting a lot of dummies in today. Like, incapable of basic thought. Nazis can't be portrayed of low moral character. Yeah, I could see Polyev passing that law. I'm in like a shockingly good mood today, I gotta say. Last week was really bad, but I'm in like a really, really good mood. I'm so happy that there's all these dullards and Nazis coming in, so I get to shit can them. It's actually like making me feel good. You know? Like, that's the thing. Like it makes me feel good to scrub Nazis out in the only way that I can. Right? Mental States of America comes in. We need to protect Russia from woke communism. Oh, buddy, woke communism. You probably don't know anything about communism if you're saying woke communism. That's the best. I know that communism killed 100 trillion people, Vivula iPhone. I know that 100 trillion people were killed under Mao. Right? Yeah, the Nazis were humans too, Bill. Yeah. I know there isn't any evidence and nobody talked about it and it was all Nazis that they killed, but they did it. They killed 1 trillion people every second. 1,000 people died because Stalin, 100 billion people died because Stalin took his big giant spoon and ate all the grain in Ukraine. That's what happened. Hey, yuckles. We gotta protect Russia from this woke communism. What's woke? I don't know, but that's what the Tucker says. That's what Tuck says. He says that there's the woke communism and we gotta stop it. What's communism? I don't know, but I'm scared of it. I don't know the first thing about any of this stuff, but boy, howdy do the people on the TV tell me I should be scared of it, so I am. How many books have I read? I don't read. It's not. You don't need to read. It's fine. I don't know the first thing about nothing. I just know that Tucker said we gotta be scared of it, so I'm scared of it. I'm a free thinker, and that's why I say everything the TV tells me to say. Free thinking. Freedom. Yeah, how's the U.S. supposed to lead the world if they don't teach science? Yeah, dude, like, how's the U.S. supposed to lead anybody anywhere into anything at all if these are the outcomes and this is what we're doing, right? Right? Oh, do I want to? Do I want to? Do I really want to do this? Should I do this? Somebody tell me if I should or shouldn't. Somebody tell me if I should or shouldn't. Should I do this? Right? Should I go into this Bill Maher genocide apologencia? Radio says do it. Should I go into this Bill Maher genocide apologencia? I don't know, man. He's such a hack. Like, he's such an obvious, like, dopey hack. Right? Eric's like, you should after you read my comment. All right, Eric. All right, Jesus. John, get this. My pastor aunt, the ongoing saga. The ongoing saga of Eric and the pastor aunt. This is like chapter 10, right? This is chapter 10, I think. Israel is just as bad as Hamas. Yeah, Israel's definitely just as bad as Hamas. Like, Israel's just as bad as Hamas, you guys. Israel's so super just as bad as Hamas that definitely, like, Hamas is just as bad. It's just bad. There's just the same. There's parity here. They're equivalent. They're absolutely 100% the same, for sure. This is a serious comment made by a serious person who's very serious. Her reasoning is that all sins are equal, and even confirmed to me that lies and murderers are equally as bad. Well, there goes the entire American, like, legal system, right? There goes the entire principle. Like, why even have courts? Like, the entire principle of the Canadian and American and, like, the Western civilized, like, is that we actually say, well, okay, like, if somebody, like, steals bread to feed their starving family, that probably receives less of a crime than a serial killer who murders 10 people and eats them. Probably different. AK, I love to see you back in the chat, my man. We got a Trumper. You know what, man? You know what I love about you, AK? This is what I love about you, okay? You're not directly offending me, right? So you're not, like, actually insulting me. I feel like I have probably insulted you more than you've insulted me, right? For which I apologize, and I know as a God-fearing Christian, you'll forgive me. You're a man of conviction. You really believe in what you're saying. And you really believe that Trump's going to come in and it's going to improve things for you, right? You really believe that. And I don't think you believe it because you're a Nazi, right? You haven't ever said anything to me that convinces me that you're just a Nazi, the way that some of these guys are. Like, I think you really just are a Trumper, right? You're just like a true believing Trumper type who thinks that Donald Trump's going to come in, he's going to drain the swamp, he's going to do all that kind of stuff, right? And you're wrong. Like, you're desperately, dramatically wrong. But I really, really gotta say, you've always been polite to me. You've always been nice. I've tried to lay some hard truths at your feet. And you've come back for more. And so as long as you're a nice guy trying to figure your way through all this, then you're welcome here, my man. Yeah, I think that's true. The bar is set at don't be a fucking Nazi. And also, don't be a fucking dumbass. Like, think about this, guys. Think about this. For anybody who might still be in the chat who got banned, I'm letting some Trumper guy who's saying, we will make America powerful again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. He gets to stay. You do not, you fucking dumbass dullard. What in the name of Christ on his throne did I just hear for the last 10 minutes? What? I don't remember, dude. I don't remember. What are you referring to, Cotton? I want to get on. I want to get on the same level as you, my man. I've always felt that you and I share a wavelength. That we are brothers in the light pool. I've genuinely believed that. With more resources and control of trade, the actual nation state has more obligations. SS and Warsaw ghetto Jews were also moral equivalents. Yeah, of course. No justice for rich pedos. Yeah. It's annoying we can't see the Twitch stream. Yeah, what are you going to do? He could be a libertarian. Yeah, a Nazi too stupid to know he's a Nazi. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of it with libertarians. They just don't want to admit it. Right? Guys, from the Twitch stream, dude, best comment all night. Best comment all night. Mental States of America writes, we need to protect capitalist trad wives from the lustful gazes of socialist men. Well done. Well done. Best comment all night, for sure. Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what a libertarian is, right? A Nazi too stupid to know he's a Nazi. Or like an unprincipled Nazi, right? He wants to be a Nazi, but he doesn't believe in Nazism. All right, guys. Did I just hear the education standards is suggesting we don't depict Nazis as morally bad? Oh, yeah, bud. Let's get it right. Let's get it right. Precision is key. Precision is key. In Indiana, okay? Nazis can't be portrayed as low moral character in the state of Indiana. So, it's not all of America. It's not the entire world. It's not like everything. It's the state of Indiana. So, sorry, Indiana. Your kids are being taught that Nazis were fine. Nazis didn't have low moral character. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And here, again, I like to reiterate that here in the province of Ontario, we for sure, our Minister of Education is including Holodomor lessons in grade 10 school, so that we can indoctrinate our children into believing something that's completely false. Fantastic. Just literally Nazi propaganda, straight up. Yeah, that's a thing that definitely happened. You want evidence? Duh. Moving on. Communists are just as bad as Nazis. What source? Trust me, bro. Yeah, Indiana Nazis. So basically what this means, though, is Indiana, from this day forward, and let us make it so, whenever anybody says, like, the senator from Indiana or the congressman from Indiana, we're just like, pro-Nazis. Like, the Nazi crowd. For sure, 100%, Nazis coming out of Indiana. Hail Tosis. It's statistically proven that leftists make better lovers. Yeah, it turns out that caring about the feelings of the people you're with, as opposed to just using them as jerk-off dolls, improves sex. Who knew? Is there any evidence for the Nazi thing besides that Reddit post? Fair question, Ben. Fair question. Actually, straight up, Ben, keeping us honest. Ben Jorgensen, keeping us honest. Indiana can't teach negative things about Nazis. Random. I don't know. Sometimes you type random stuff into Google. Okay. Indiana senator walks back instructions to teachers. Backtrack on shocking instructions. Indiana lawmaker, sorry, he said Nazis should be given a fair. Indiana lawmaker apologizes for saying teacher. Indiana walks back remarks on Nazism and partiality. Indiana Republican backtracks. A lawmaker in Indiana walked back. Thanks, Ben. I appreciate it. The story is that someone suggested that we do it and then immediately walked it back. Woo! Whoo! Oh, Lordy, it got hot in here. Oh, goodness, I'm feeling the sweat today. So it was just a right-wing Indiana state senator. So it wasn't legislation that actually got passed. It was just the Indiana state senator standing up and saying out loud in front of people so that he could be heard with the words that came out of his mouth. You know, the Nazis weren't so bad. We need to be impartial. GOP Senator Scott Baldwin told a history teacher who noted his class was studying the rise of Nazism and fascism. There were good Nazis. There's good people. There's good people on both sides. A right-wing Indiana state senator has backtracked on his shocking instructions to a history teacher during a legislative hearing this week not to criticize Nazism or fascism to his students. Yeah, as if it's any better. Thanks, Eric. Indiana is still a meme, though. Yeah, of course. It's literally the senator. And just because he was like, "Darr," after he said this dumb fuck thing, after he stood up in front of people and were like, the Nazis, we should be nice to the Nazis. Yeah. We need to be impartial. He also said he wasn't discrediting Nazism. The purpose, he said, is to help students recognize it and combat it. That's why we learn to use history to make a better world. It's fine to discuss the existence of the isms like fascism and Nazism, but we've gone too far when we take a position on those isms. We need to be purveyors of reason. We just provide the facts. Like, so you can tell them about the genocide, but you can't tell them it's bad. You can tell them about rounding up the Jews and putting them into ovens, but you can't say it's bad to do that. No. So here's a guy who's a moral nihilist, right? Just a casual senator from Indiana. Yeah. So Ben, thank you. Thank you for keeping us honest. Thank you for keeping us focused on what is real and what is true. This wasn't a law that was passed. The Indiana teachers don't have to do shit. It was the senator, Scott Baldwin, kind of being a Nazi. So, thank you for that. But the evil Stalin, 100% objective bad. Yeah, this still means they'll want to pass such laws eventually. Yeah. You know, it's just the senator of Indiana. You know? No big deal. No biggie. Oh my goodness. Well, actually, if they would also refrain from saying communism was bad, it might be fine to let kids decide what is bad. Yeah, I'm just gonna say, like, maybe we should be discerning enough as a species, and as a human race, as a society, to be able to tell. Like, this is what blows me away about this whole, like, communism is the same thing as fascism. They're just as bad as one another. It's objectively false. Like, objectively false. Like, I don't know how to articulate this effectively and cleanly in an easy way. Like, I think that I've got a couple of arguments in a couple positions that I've got down to like a single paragraph, so I don't waste a lot of time, right? Just like, boom. Like, if somebody comes in here with the Holodomor stuff, I've just got like a statement that I can just say and then just dismiss them. And if they continue whinging, I can just get them to fuck off. Because, like, I don't need to listen to dumb fuckery. Like, if you're going to come in here and try to convince me that angels are real, I'm going to ask for evidence. And when you say, but they are, I don't have any evidence, just trust me, bro, I'm going to be like, okay, bye. Right? So, to try to pretend as though communism and fascism are on par with one another requires you to just admit that you're illiterate, to turn your brain directly off, and to just take what is said to you from the Imperial Core at face value, while the Imperial Core has done nothing but lie to you your whole entire life, right? And literally they, like, manufacture stories about bullshit nonsense while straight up committing genocide in front of your eyes today. Today. Right? Like literally taking Jews and putting them in ovens, dropping nuclear bombs, right? Literally purging entire societies, creating like a Stalingrad in Gaza, right? But the communists were bad because they mismanaged the famine, or will pretend like it was a intentional genocide. Shut up. Like, just shut up. It's so dumb. This guy, Mental States of America, I love this guy. He's just doing like a bunch of, like, I can't tell if he's a parody, but either way, he's making me laugh. Mental States of America, woke equals a lot of words that end up in going broke. I love it. Woke equals a lot of words that end up in going broke. Also, for Mental States of America, communism equals a lot of words that end up in going broke. Bro, you don't know anything about communism, man. Like, the societies that have actually implemented communism dramatically improved the quality of their life. Like, it was, and it was dramatic. Like really, really dramatic. But that's what makes it so embarrassing. That's what makes it that's what makes it embarrassing on the highest possible level, is that communism works dramatically. It's super effective, right? That, like, the Soviet Union is a great example. The Soviet Union was literally a culture of serfs dominated by a Tsar, literally living in like a pastoral agrarian lifestyle that, under Lenin and then Stalin, through the process of communism, industrialized itself so quickly that it became a world superpower in a single generation, capable of being the first people into space and also defeating the largest, most well-armed, most deadly capitalist army that had ever been fielded in the Nazis. And you're just standing there being like, communism never works. It's like embarrassing. It's just so embarrassing that people say this shit out loud and then expect to be respected. Like, read anything. Think about it for a minute. Like, the Cold War was a period of time where America was desperately concerned that the Soviet Union, that communism, was going to continue to spread and overwhelm Europe. That's why they created NATO, right? And then eventually the political class of the Soviet Union decide to abandon the project of communism. Why? Because they don't want to be invaded by NATO. Because they don't want another fascist war. They don't want to lose 25 million people to Nazis, to capitalists, right? But communism equals a lot of words that end up in going broke. That's some good old-fashioned folksy wisdom you got there, bud. Well done. CH just over here being like, I would happily be the jack chick of communism. Good for you, bud. Good. We need somebody to be the jack chick of communism. Tell you what. I tell you what. When I told her that there was systemic famine that occurred in that region before the communist revolution, oh yeah, of course she thinks that communism is evil because stuff like the Holodomor. Yeah, of course. We've had that jammed down our throats. She even tried to argue to me that they're the breadbasket of Europe for decades and thought it was ridiculous. Yeah, when I told her there was a systemic famine, yeah, like the region was famine stricken. Like it happened under the SARS. Like it's the Holodomor thing, look, I've got the Holodomor thing down to a single paragraph, right? It's as simple as this. There's no such thing as a secret genocide. Genocides are big, gigantic cultural projects that happen out in the open. They need to be organized. They need to be planned. They need to be executed. You need to have speeches about it. You need to have organizational documents. You can't just willy-nilly do a genocide. Right? And while the genocide is happening, the people experiencing the genocide often complain about the genocide, right? It's extremely unlikely that a genocide would occur from a country and to a country with nobody talking about it, right? So show me the speeches from Stalin. Show me the speeches from the Ministry of Agriculture. Show me the speeches from the generals in Stalin's military. Show me the speeches being done by the governor of Ukraine. Show me the resistance from Ukraine and show me the comments that they made, or shut the fuck up. And if you don't have that evidence, then I don't need to believe angels are real. Get the fuck out of here. It's really that simple. Oh, I just got bombed in Twitch. How's it going, guys? What just happened? A bunch of people just came into my Twitch chat while I was doing this. Got a lot of... It's going well. I hope you guys are doing well out there. Obamacare TV. I like this guy. Cut of your jib. Yeah, illiterate people just listen to Rogan and Shapiro, unfortunately. Okay, guys, I've been sort of circling this train. I need more confirmation. I need somebody to say to me, should I talk about this Bill Maher segment? I'm just like, Bill Maher's such a dimwit. He's such like a total dullard that it's like annoying. And his like smarminess, his total smarminess is what kills me. All right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Okay, let's go. I believe in me. I believe in us. We can do it. We can do it.
New rule, I know it's supposed to be that magical time of year, but maybe what we all really need right now is a good dose of realism.
Realism, right? Just straight up, like, starting from the position that what I'm about to say is realism.
I see a lot of nativity scenes when I'm out, as you always do before Christmas.
Uh-oh. The internet is like, nah, John, it's not going to happen, bro.
And I can't help thinking about where that manger really is. It's in the West Bank, on Palestinian land controlled by the Palestinian Authority. In 1950, the little town of Bethlehem was 86% Christian. Now it's overwhelmingly Muslim. And that's my point tonight. Things change. To 2.3 billion Christians, there can be no more sacred site than where their Savior was born. But they don't have it anymore. And yet no Crusader army has geared up to take it back. Things change.
No Crusader army has geared up to take it back. No Crusader army has geared up to take it back. Not one. There isn't any army that has geared up to take it back, Bill. There's no Crusader army that exists in the world today that's geared up at all to take it back. Right? Just doesn't exist. It's nowhere. Can't be observed. And this is realism. We need a dose of realism right now, says Bill Maher. There's no Crusader army gearing up to take Palestinian land. Get over it.
Countries, boundaries, empires. Palestine was under the Ottoman Empire for 400 years, but today an ottoman is something you put under your feet.
That gives you a real sense of who Bill Maher's audience is. Just like deranged boomers. There's a guy in the laugh track that I really want you to listen for. And it's this guy who is like broadly laughing in a more like, that kind of thing. You can hear him right away. Right. And it's like stage laugh. He's the kind of person that you put in the audience in order to inspire everybody else to actually laugh. That was a punchline.
Empires. Palestine.
Right?
Was
you can
under
hear him.
the Ottoman Empire for 400 years, but today an ottoman is something you put under your feet.
Right? An ottoman is something you put under your feet. Bill Maher hitting it again. Merry Christmas to you, Kennedy Kerr.
The city of Byzantium became the city of Constantinople, became Istanbul. Not everybody liked it, but you can't keep arguing the call forever. The Irish had the entire island to themselves, but the British were starting an empire, and, well, the Irish lost their tip.
Like, literally doing imperial propaganda against Ireland. Straight up. Like, imperial propaganda against Ireland. Too bad, Ireland. You lost to the British. Tough shit. Just get over it. Right? He said just the tip. Like a penis. This guy is a fucking hack, man. Like, is this what it takes to get on national television? Is just be the hackiest hack? Ugh.
They blew each other up over it for 30 years, but eventually everybody comes to an accommodation.
Yeah, hello, UZ Tracer. How you doing, bud?
Except the Palestinians. Was it unjust?
Oh, yeah, hold on. There's the pivot. And you can hear that guy, the guy who's going like, he's like, yeah, that's right. They should just get over it.
Up over it for 30 years, but eventually everybody comes to an accommodation, except the Palestinians. Was it unjust that even a single Arab family was forced to move upon the founding of the Jewish state? Yes, but it's also not rare.
Yeah, so, it's so common, so we might as well just say, whatever, you just live with it. Human nature, right? Human nature. Excuse me while I drive my Bugatti and get sucked off by a 14-year-old.
All through history, all over the world, and mostly what people do is make the best of it. After World War II, 12 million ethnic Germans got shoved out of Russia and Poland and Czechoslovakia because being German had become kind of unpopular.
Yeah, just get over it. Yeah, bud. I love it. The name is Canadian Commie. My name is Canadian Commie. Am I Canadian Commie? Yes. It's in the name.
1 million Greeks were shoved out of Turkey in 1923, 1 million Ghanaians out of Nigeria in 1983, almost 1 million French out of Algeria in 1962. Nearly 1 million Syrian refugees moved to Germany 8 years ago. Was that a perfect fit?
Like, I love that this guy is basically just listing the crimes of the imperial empire and then basically just saying, get over it. Right? Yeah, we displaced a bunch of Syrians into Germany. Get over it. Right? Like, oh, well, they're not complaining. Yeah, they are complaining. Everybody's complaining about it, Bill. You fucking detached narcissist.
And no one knows more about being pushed off land than the Jews, including being almost wholly kicked out of every Arab country they once lived in. Yes.
I wonder why. Yeah, I wonder why that's happened. Could it be that they're walking around teaching their children that Hitler was cool? Could it be that they're actually like literally teaching their kids that Hitler is the most righteous person possible? Right? That they're giving awards. That their minister of education is giving awards to like crazed racist lunatics. Could that possibly have anything to do with it, Bill Maher? You fucking loser. Like, Jesus fucking Christ.
TikTok fans, ethnic cleansing happened both ways. In Fiddler on the Roof, the family is always moving to stay one step ahead of the Cossacks, but they deal with it. When they're leaving Anatevka, they say,
there, you just said it. Just deal with it. Just whatever, just deal with it. Might makes right. Right? There's no rules. It's just whoever has the biggest gun. Fucking deal with it. Right? There's no morality, right? You just do what you want, and as long as you've got the big stick, we don't need to actually have a discussion about how to prevent these atrocities. We don't need to have a discussion about how to find peace with each other. We don't need to have that kind of just deal with it. Just shut up about it. The reason why Bill Maher is doing this segment and the reason why he's upset is because people are bothering him about it. That's it. That's his whole position. Stop bothering me about this. Just deal with it.
Hey, it wasn't so great anyway.
Was that a punchline? Was that actually a punchline?
Always moving to stay one step ahead of the Cossacks, but they deal with it. When they're leaving Anatevka, they say, hey, it wasn't so great anyway.
Applause, 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 applause. When the laughing man laughs, clap. When the laughing man laughs, clap. Ha 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 ha! And people in the audience like, laughing man laughed, we clap.
Come on. Like other countries don't have roofs you could fiddle on?
Like, is this a joke? Hey, Bisky, how you doing, bud?
Now, that's not how they really felt, but they were coping. They coped.
Yeah, Cotton, you already hit it before he said the cope. Bill Maher is arguing for the right if might, so okay, when the Arab world would deplete a settler state, there'll be no tears. Just cope and move on, right? That's exactly what we should expect from Bill Maher. That'll be his position, I'm sure. He's certainly not a stooge for the Imperial Corps.
Because sometimes that's all you can do. History is brutal, and humans are not good people. History's sad and full of wrongs, but you can't make them unhappen because a paraglider isn't a time machine. People get moved, and yes, colonized. Nobody was a bigger colonizer than the Muslim army that swept out of the Arabian desert and took over much of the world in a single century. And they didn't do it by asking.
They did it, and so when we do it, it's cool. They did it, and so when we do it, it's fine. And it means that we can be as grotesque as we possibly want to be, and it's totally fine. Just deal with it. Just cope. Dude, if this is the attitude of the empire, America deserves its isolationism. It deserves it in a big, big, solid way. Like, crazy. Like, this is crazy, right? Like, this is nuts. To just tell people you are actively genociding to just deal with it.
There's a reason Saudi Arabia's flag is a sword. Kosovo was the cradle of Christian Serbia. Then it became Muslim. They fought a war about it in the 90s, but stopped. They didn't keep it going for 75 years.
Yeah, who's keeping it going, Bill? Your point is that Hamas should surrender and just be eradicated and cope with it, right? You're just mad that they're fighting back. Oh, that's what this is all about. My bad, I totally forgot. This shill apologist for empire is just upset that he's got to listen to this. Listen to the whining of the slaves that his society is purging, and he's mad that they're fighting back. Oh, that's right. How dare they fight back? Right? My bad.
There were deals on the table to share the land called Palestine in 1947, 93, 95, 98, 2000, 2008, and East Jerusalem could have been the capital of a Palestinian state that today might look more like Dubai than Gaza. Arafat was offered 95% of the West Bank and said no. The Palestinian people should know your leaders and the useful idiots on college campuses.
Like, literally the point that he's making is that they were told to stay in their open-air concentration camp, and they didn't go along with it. Yeah. Like, they were told to stay in their prison and be quiet, and then that would be the peace deal. And they went, no. Like, we're not going to die in an open-air prison. No. Oh. They didn't surrender?
No.
Like, history began October 7th. This never happened. Right? None of this ever happened. This is a non-existent, non-historical event that history began in October 7th, right? And if we do actually talk about events before that, it's only to frame Hamas as the aggressors somehow. Like, what are you talking about? I mean, we know what you're talking about. You're a pro-imperialist shill, right?
The Palestinian people should know your leaders and the useful idiots on college campuses who are their allies are not doing you any favors by keeping alive the river to the sea myth. I mean, where do you think Israel is going? Spoiler alert, nowhere.
Like, probably somewhere, dude. But by your own estimation, right? People get wiped out and they just have to deal with it, right? This doesn't sound like Nazi apologencia. This doesn't sound like something that fucking Adolf Hitler could have said. This doesn't sound like something the Nazis could have said. Well, yeah, Jews just get wiped out. You just got to deal with it, right? That's just normal, right? You just don't keep the griping alive, right? It's the griping that's the worst part.
It's one of the most powerful countries in the world with the $500 billion economy, the world's second largest tech sector after Silicon Valley, and nuclear weapons. They're here. They like their bagel with a schmear. Get used to it.
Yeah, because there's no moment in human history ever. There isn't like documents and books like, let's say, the Torah that are full of events where arrogant cultures and arrogant empires and arrogant societies get completely laid to waste, right? That never happens, right? What is it that comes before a fall? There's something. What is it that comes before a fall? Oh well.
What's happening to Palestinians today is horrible, and not just in Gaza, in the West Bank too. But wars end with negotiation. And what the media glosses over is it's hard to negotiate when the other side's bargaining position is you all die and disappear.
I love this obvious propaganda piece. The stated agenda from Netanyahu's mouth is to commit a genocide against the Gazians. Recently, he literally said that he had no intention of doing a two-state solution. That one of his great prides is to destroy the two-state solution. Like Bill Maher is so demented here, like so obviously, overtly demented, that it's shocking that he would actually utter these words on national television. But it just shows you that the power structure has gone completely mad. His point is literally, shut up, slaves, while we massacre you. How dare you fight back? That's his whole point. And if you say we're going to fight back, that's a genocide. But if we say we're going to commit a genocide, then Israel has the right to defend itself.
I mean, the chant from the river to the sea. Yeah, let's look at the map. Here's the river. Here's the sea. Oh, I see. It means you get all of it.
Right. Like it used to be. Right? Like it used to be. And I don't understand why Bill would be upset by that. What's the problem, Bill? Right? What's the problem? Just cope. Right? Just cope. Right? So if Palestine were to manage to get allies and were managed to push Israel back out and push the Israelis back out and take the land back over, just deal with it. Right? That's been your whole point this entire time, right? So why is it that when it goes one way, it's just deal with it, cope, shut up about it, stop complaining, slaves. But when it goes against your interests, suddenly that's a problem. Just deal with it, Bill. Just cope.
Not just the West Bank, which was basically the original UN partition deal you rejected because you wanted all of it and always have, even though it's indisputably also the Jews' ancestral homeland.
Because I have a magic book that says 3,000 years ago, the Jews lived here. Just fucking embarrassing shit.
And so you attacked and lost.
Like, imagine pretending as though the Palestinians are attacking. It's like saying the First Nations people attacked. Like, it's like saying the black slaves attacked, right? Like, it's like cringingly embarrassing.
And attacked again and lost. And attacked again and lost. As my friend Dr. Phil says, how's that working for you?
Yeah, we showed those slaves. Yeah, we stopped that slave rebellion.
Look at what Mexico used to own, all the way up to the top of California. But no Mexican is out there chanting from the Rio Grande to Portland, Oregon.
Is there a current genocide going on in Mexico? Are we in the cities of Mexico rounding up Mexicans? Are we like going in and shooting Mexicans? I mean, we do shoot them at the border, obviously, but like, is there a giant political? Is there a genocide being committed in Mexico currently today by the United States administration? Is that something that's happening, Bill? You fucking fraud.
Because they chose a different path. They got real and built a country that's the world's 14th biggest economy now. Because they knew the United States wasn't going to give back Phoenix any more than Hamas will ever be in Tel Aviv.
That guy, good to see you, bud. Oh my God, okay, only a minute left of this.
One of the leaders of Hamas says, save yourselves time and imaginary dreams. In a few years, Allah willing, you will have to discuss the situation in the region after Israel. I'm sorry, who's the one with imaginary dreams? If I give you the benefit of the doubt and say your plan for a completely Jewless Palestine isn't that all the Jews should die, what is the only other option? They move. You move all the Jews. Okay, I gotta...
Yeah, like you've been saying everybody should cope with, Bill. You've been saying, gotta move all the Jews. Yeah, just cope with it. Just cope, right? That's your argument, bud. It's just happening against your interests, right? So, like, the moral inconsistency is very interesting. It's almost as though you're a fraudulent hack with no principles whatsoever. That you're just paid to say these things and you take the money and go home and sleep with little girls. Like, that seems to be your MO.
I warn you, there's gonna be some kvetching. You move all the Jews, and we do this with what? A fleet of trucks called Jew Haul?
I'm not gonna lie, I actually do kind of like Jew Haul. Use Racer, I see you, bud. Yep. Yeah, 700K Zionist settlers moving is no tragedy. Like, Like, it's like the Nakba. We're just going to ignore the Nakba completely. He's not going to talk about the Nakba. Like, it never happened, right? Like the atrocities that happened against the Palestinians never happened. But just the threats coming from their victims is enough to justify the genocide against them. Got it.
And to where are we moving this entire country? Texas? Sure, they have room, and I guess we could put the Wailing Wall on the border and kill two birds with one stone. Or we could just get serious.
What an unserious person, man. Like, it blows me away. How many people watched this? 14.9 million views. Like, we deserve the isolation that we're going to experience. We deserve the world looking at us. Like, if this is the peak of our culture, if these are the voices that are at the top of our culture, we absolutely, absolutely, absolutely deserve the isolation that's coming for us. Like, in a big and massive way. It's shocking how swiftly it's going to happen. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a more clearly articulated pro-genocide case, right? Like, his point is, just get over it, stop talking about it, stop crying about it. We have the right to commit a genocide against you, and the problem is that you're fighting back. Stop fighting back. Right? Just how the First Nations people should have stopped fighting back. Just like how and what's embarrassing for Bill is that the land back initiatives have been working. Right? Like, if you actually look at the United States at a map, you can actually see how land back initiatives have been working in Oklahoma. Right? Most of Oklahoma has reverted back. It's on the fucking map. So land back initiatives work. They should be done. Frauds like this just want you to believe that what's quote unquote real is American imperialism, right? It's a version of capitalist realism, that this is the totality of all creation, that it can never improve or change or shift from here, that capitalism is the end of history, right? Because history started October 7th. Oh my goodness, what's my chat saying? I know Use Racer really wants to talk to me. You really want me to talk to you about how you doing out there? Yeah, Bill just argued the settlers at least have to move. Yeah, I mean he did literally just create the justification for the removal of the Jews in the region, right? You could use that exact same justification. For clarity, so that I don't get banned off this platform, I believe in the two-state solution. I think that they should create a two-state solution, right? But it's become painfully obvious that the Jewish leadership is not interested in a two-state solution. It's very clear. Netanyahu confessed to it, that he was getting in the way of the two-state solution and purposefully torpedoed the two-state solution, right? He confessed to it outright. And so this idea that it was completely on the Palestinians and the Palestinians rejected it, like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you fucking talking about? Like, so they're not going to do that. They've created the conditions by which the only solution that is available to them is the ethnic cleansing of the Palestinians. And that's what they're pursuing, right? That's what they're pursuing. Like, if there is going to be a legitimate case for a two-state solution, it obviously needs to come from Israel. And why do I say obviously? Because Israel is the aggressor. They're the ones that are moving forward, right, into land that is Palestinian. Like, very clearly, very obviously, that if Israel is actually interested in peace, well, it's up to them. And should they experience moments of aggression from the Palestinians, then they're going to have to accept that, right? Like, that's just the truth. Like, a story I like to tell about this is, I remember every day my family would drive right beside a First Nations reserve, right? That my town was surrounded by 4 First Nations reserves, because it used to be a military outpost. And and every day we would drive by one of these, and there would be a house on the side of the road. And every day, or at least every week, there would be some new fresh damage on the house. And I, as a kid, asked my dad, why is that house getting beat up so bad? Like, what's going on? And my dad told the story of how, well, there's a First Nations guy that lives there. He didn't use the word First Nations, that lives there. And the government bought him that house. And so he doesn't have any respect for it. And he just beats it up because he knows that if he destroys it completely, well, they'll just buy him another one, right? And it's such a waste of money and such a waste of time and all this kind of stuff. And as I got older and I learned about the 60s scoop, and I learned about the genocide, and I learned about the trauma that he likely personally experienced, being kidnapped out of his home, sent to a residential school, and had his identity purged from him, I've come to the conclusion that you're goddamn right that man is going to destroy that house. And when he burns it to the ground, you're going to buy him another one. And when he burns that one to the ground, you're going to buy him another one. And when he burns that one to the ground, guess what you're going to do? You're going to buy him another one. Why? Because you kidnapped him out of his house, removed his identity, shoved him into a residential school littered with tuberculosis, removed him from his culture, from his family, and tried to ethnically cleanse him. And now that you're no longer trying to do that, you've dumped him off in a house in the middle of the prairies and told him to just get over it. Cope. In a house bought with the same money that was used to kidnap him in the first place. So yeah, the guy's going to blow some holes in the side of your house. The guy's going to burn your shit down. The guy's going to lose his mind. Clearly, obviously. Do you think anything else would happen? Are you stupid? And so you should expect it. Not only should you expect it, you should accept it as the consequence of your actions and what has happened. Well, the same story is here. That if the Israelis were genuinely interested in peace, which they're not, obviously, they've been committed to a policy of ethnic cleansing since the beginning. But if they were interested in peace, in a two-state solution, if they were interested in that, well, they're the aggressors. They're the ones that have access to an air force. They're the ones that have access to funding from the United States military. They're the ones who have missile systems. They're the ones who have AI systems that are capable of creating bombing patterns. They're the ones who are actually moving the genocide forward. Well, if they were actually interested in peace, the first thing that they should do is stop the ethnic cleansing, stop teaching a policy of ethnic cleansing, and then, crazy thought, when the people they have victimized for generations act out against them, accept it. Accept it and say things like, given the history between our peoples, it's understandable that segments of the society would lash out against us. And we need to accept that and come together with a healing heart and in forgiveness in order to establish a policy and a history of peace. Is that the way they're talking? Is that what Netanyahu's saying? Is that what the establishment of Israel is saying out loud? Is that what they're doing? No. They're giving awards to people who are saying things that, like, Hitler was a good guy, actually. Right? Like, that's what they're doing. They're giving awards to people who are literally arguing that Hitler was right. UZ Racer writes, let's see it honestly, even if we like it or not. Palestine will be earlier or later conquered by Israel, so in future we should break our diplomatic relations to it. Yeah, I mean, I'm on board with a boycott, divest, and sanction Israel policy. That's what I'm on board with. Like, we shouldn't be trading with a genocidal regime. Like, really, obviously. We should not be committing any resources whatsoever to directly to the state or indirectly to the state that is committing an apartheid and a genocide within its borders. Absolutely. Kennedy Care TV writes, do you believe in the Illuminati conspiracy theory? No. Because, like, it's sort of silly when you think about it, right? Like, the Illuminati conspiracy theory says that there's a secret cabal behind the shadows controlling everything, when there's literally a cabal controlling everything right in front of your face. You don't need to look for some secret cabal. Just read the Financial Times. like there's no secret cabal. The cabal is well out in the open, right in front of your face. It's not a secret. There's no conspiracy, right? There's no secret conspiracy going on. It's very much right in front of your face. And they publish it, right? Just read the financial press. They're very open about the cult. They're very open about it. They talk about it regularly, right? Like, who's this secret Illuminati? And if you actually break it down, the secret Illuminati is actually just the fucking billionaire class that's right in front of your face. Right? The bankers, the investor class, the shareholder class, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Bezos, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Morgans, right? It's not a secret cabal. It's very open. Like, and what's the big revelation of the Illuminati conspiracy theory? That rich people might get together and plan. Ooh. That guy. Yeah. Sounds like my mom talking about Persians, making it personal. I saw a creative one-state solution that sounded pretty good. We're not interested in creativity, dude. Well, I am, but the capitalists are not interested in creativity. If they wanted peace and security for their people, then a one-state solution could happen tomorrow, but the Zionist project is antithetical to coexistence. Well, that guy, one of the things that's been a bit disheartening, and I played it earlier, this guy here, right? Israeli military teaches recruits it's okay and necessary to be racist. Literally, this guy goes through the military academy, the most prestigious military army academy that exists in Israel, and shows you some of the teachings. You know what, man? I think I might just replay this. Yeah, I am going to replay this. I think I've got new viewers in the chat. I might actually just save this. In fact, I am going to save this and replay it. Because it's crazy. Like, this one's crazy. Let's go through it, that guy. You and me together. Ride or die. Right now. Let's open up that third eye and go mad together.
Is the most important educational facility. This is an army academy in which army officers are sent to study the Torah and the Talmud.
Who are the stockholder class? The class that holds stocks. BlackRock, 6th Street, Vanguard. Just look up those three names. Blackguard, 6th Street, Vanguard. They essentially own the stock market, right? That's the corporate shell company that the shareholder class uses in order to own the market. Those three companies together own the majority of the stock market, and they themselves own stock in each other. So they're like a cabal that exists together in order to own and dominate the stock market. And they do so openly, right? It just, again, read the Financial Times. Like, it's not a secret.
You have rabbis teaching these lectures, and I'm just going to give you some quotes directly from the Hebrew so you can evaluate what kind of messages are being put forth and passed on. So here's Rabbi Eliezer Castiel, and this is what he has to say to his students. Due to the abolition of legal slavery, there are now deficiencies since no one is responsible for the property, right? Humans' property. With the help of God, it will return. Slavery will return. So who are going to be these slaves? The non-Jews will want to be our slaves, he says. Being the slave of a Jew is the best. They must be slaves. They want to be slaves. Instead of wandering the streets, being foolish and violent, harming one another, now his life begins. All around us, there are nations with genetic problems. Ask any simple Arab where he wants to be. He wants to be under the occupation. Why? Because they have a genetic problem. They don't know how to run a country. They don't know how to do anything. Look at the state of them. Sounds kind of racist. Yeah, he goes on. He says, yeah, of course racism exists. Are we unaware that there are different races in the world? Is it a secret? Is it untrue? What can you do? It's true. Yes, we're racists. We believe in racism. Correct. There are races in the world, and nations have genetic attributes. So it requires of us to consider how to help them. Racial differences are real, and this is precisely a reason to offer help. Wow.
It gets so much better, that guy. It gets so much better. You just stick around. We got 4 more minutes of this, and 5 more minutes of this, and it gets way better. Right? I actually don't know who this guy is. I should look him up. David Sheen, journalist. He's a journalist named David Sheen.
That's really something. This is the premier military academy. Surely this can't be the bulk of what they're teaching, right? So we move on. Here's another rabbi, Giora Redler, and what he teaches about the Holocaust.
And I am open. Like, I would love it if somebody, I would love it if somebody could get me to step down from this. For real. Like, I would love it. If somebody wants to challenge me on this video, please do. Please do. I would love to have a robust conversation about the veracity of these claims to step me down from this, for sure. Absolutely. I'm 100% opening myself up to that. No, he's not agreeing with this doctrine. No, he is telling you what is being taught inside of this military academy. That is what he's doing, CH. So he's not agreeing with the doctrine. He's telling you he's exposing it. That's exactly right. So again, though, because, and somebody else did this, Ben did this earlier to me where I was saying something and he was like, source it. And then we did, and it clarified things. So with this video, please, for the love of God, I would love it if this is all false. I would love it. I would absolutely love it if this was completely all false and I had to retract everything. That if I was just like, yeah, okay, too bad, so sad, my bad, gotta step down. Yeah, I like the gray zone, right? I know that Ben Norton and what's his name had like a falling out and they have like their differences, but I like the gray zone. I'm yet to see something that makes me go, gray zone untrustworthy.
Holocaust, he says, the Holocaust wasn't really about killing the Jews. That's not the Holocaust. All those excuses that it was ideological or systematic, that's nonsense.
This is
Because
crazy.
it was out of ideology, in a way, it was more moral than if it was just people just murdering.
This gets crazier, that guy. You got to tune into this. This is great.
Humanism, the whole secular culture of believing in man, that is the Holocaust, he says. The real Holocaust is to be pluralistic, to believe in man. That is called Holocaust. For many years already, God has been screaming that the diaspora is over, but people don't listen to him. And that is their disease, which must be cured by the Holocaust. Jewish people living anywhere in the world other than the state of Israel, that's a disease. And the cure for this disease is to genocide said Jews. You know, about as revisionist as you're going to get. That's pretty sickening stuff. And then he goes on. In relative terms, the logic of the Germans was internally consistent. Hitler said that a group of people, a certain group in the population, is the source of evil for all humanity. They cause evil to humanity, and therefore they must be exterminated. So let's start with the question. He says, was Hitler right or not? Seems like a pretty obvious answer, right? But you'll be surprised. He says, he is the most righteous person possible. Of course he was right in every word he said. Talking about Adolf Hitler.
Huh? 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 Literally, they're teaching at a prestigious military academy, right? A prestigious military academy in Israel, military academy, that Hitler was right.
What does he mean by this? There is the masculine world that wages war, that is concerned with respect. And then there is the soft, moral, feminine world of turning the other cheek. And it's the Jews that carry on that tradition, trying to ruin all of humanity, and therefore they are the real enemy. He's on the wrong side, but otherwise he is 100% correct. He's saying that the correct way to be is strong, to believe that might makes right. And if you, in fact, believe in being merciful to the other, then that is the most evil thing that humanity can do. Okay? And so Hitler was incorrect in ascribing that feminine, merciful quality to Jews. That attitude to believe that might makes right and that mercy is evil, that's 100% correct, according to Rabbi Giora Redler at Israel's top military academy. Okay, David, surely, these are just, 2 exceptions to the rule. There must be more. Unfortunately, these aren't the exceptions. These are the rules.
So, Eric, to answer your question, I subscribe to a subreddit called Marxist Culture, and it was this video that came up in Marxist Culture, and there is a larger video right here. And here's David Sheen, and I'm definitely going to go through more of his work if this is the stuff that he is exposing, because this is crazy. Like, this is the crazy shit right here.
So we'll hear from another rabbi at that academy, Yosef Kellner. And he has a lecture on another topic. He says, to not follow the Torah and commandments is lack of morality and national treason. So if you're a Jewish person and you don't follow all the minutiae of rules and regulations written in the Talmud, then you are a traitor to the Jewish people. In fact, it's called genociding a people, he says. That's genocide, to be a secular Jew. You are not a national criminal, you are an international criminal. It's called crime against humanity.
Yeah, 14 million people watch that Bill Maher shit and only 11,000 subscribe to David Sheen. Subscribed. For sure. Like, that's right. That's pretty classic. Yeah. This isn't Judaism, it's Zionism. This isn't a Jew problem. The problem, grinning, is like all of the polling that has been done of the Israeli population, like all of it. And I am completely open. I'm completely open to someone telling me otherwise or showing me that I'm wrong or giving me more data on this. Please, for the love of God, please. I want to be wrong. I would love to be wrong. All of the data that I have seen and all the polls that I've seen show that the Israeli people are dramatically in favor of this genocide, right? I actually think that for this one, I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to bring up, I don't want to say this without actually, no. Study after study. This one actually really matters to me. And so I really think I do need to have the source like ready. I should be faster with this one. There's a poll. I can't find it. There's a poll that I saw that that was a poll of the Israeli population. I'm the greatest. I'm the most intelligent and smartest person in the world. Olaf's, you are from the Illuminati. Boy, dude, if I was in the Illuminati, I wouldn't be doing this podcast, I tell you that. Poll results were also hawkish when it came to the use of force in Gaza. 57.5% of Israeli Jews said that they believed the Israeli Defense Forces, the IDF, were using too little firepower in Gaza. 57.5%. Too little firepower in Gaza. 36.6% said the IDF was using an appropriate amount of firepower, while just 1.8% said they believed the IDF was using too much firepower, which is actually less than the 4.2% that said they weren't sure. It gets very, 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 very difficult. Very, very difficult for me to have sympathy. Very difficult for me to have sympathy for a people when the polling data looks like this. Very difficult. Kennedy Care, if you would like to join my Discord, it costs you $1 to be donated to my Patreon. You are free to donate more. I recommend that you donate more, of course, and good opportunity to say like, share, subscribe. Please tell people I exist. That's the most important part. Tell people I exist, please. But if you donate $1 to my Patreon, it gets you the Discord link. That's the most minor form of vetting that I've got. Amit, I'm going to be fixing that soon. I just got my affiliate link, and so I'm going to be setting that up soon. No, not this. Let's continue with this because we haven't actually hit the craziest part.
So now, can a nation protect itself from the traitors within? According to most, traitors are sentenced to a bullet in the head everywhere. For those who betray them, every sanction is legitimate, up to a bullet in the head. So slavery, thumbs up. We need to bring it back. The Holocaust, Hitler was 100% correct, the most moral person possible. And if you're a secular Jew, you are sentenced to death. You deserve to die. If I'm summarizing the ideology of the top military academy in the state of Israel. Again, you're going to say, oh, this is some outlier. Surely this academy isn't important. Surely these people are condemned. Come on. This is the headmaster of the academy, Eli Sadan. And here he is a couple years ago receiving the Israel Prize, the highest prize in the country.
Highest prize in the country, headmaster to military academy, with an ideology that says Hitler was right and secular Jews deserve a Holocaust. Just normal.
Receiving it from the education minister.
That's the Minister of Education right there.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is there congratulating him.
There's Benny Haha right there shaking that guy's hand. Meanwhile, we got polling data. 57.5% of Israeli Jews say they believe the Israeli Defense Forces were using too little firepower in Gaza. The majority of Israeli Jews. Too little firepower. And if you think that's in contrast, that the other side is going like, no, we need less. No. 36.6 said the IDF was using an appropriate amount of firepower. So, super majority. Literally, what is that? Literally 80, 94.1% of the populace is let's go genocide. 94%, according to this poll from Time, pro-genocide. Only 1%, 1.8%, so 2%, let's be generous, 2% at least said too much firepower. Maybe not genocide bad, but too much firepower. But contrasting that with people who said they weren't sure, it's over double the amount of people who are like, I don't know. So, just for clarity, in Israel, you got twice as many people going, I don't know, as going, I don't know, that seems bad. While almost 40% are going, yeah, great. And another almost 60% are going, more! I'm being an anti-Zionist Jew, but I don't think you're being charitable. Fair enough. I am open to being pushed back on this stuff, especially by stalwart and fine gentlemen such as yourself. You've said something before about how we should educate, propagandize people, not condemn them. There's something that's clearly gone awry with a poll like this. You know what, man? That's absolutely true. But like, we've got to face the propaganda in the face. Like, this is what their education system is. Like, they're educating their kids in this.
The education minister, he did not allow Netanyahu, the prime minister, to speak to the students. The only politician he allowed to speak to the students was his favorite politician, previously the chief rabbi of the Israeli army. Now, Netanyahu just made him the most recent education minister, Rafi Peretz. What does he do now that he's our education minister? He gives a prize to who? Who does he give a prize to? This man, Yitzhak Ginsburg. Now, if you're going to remember one name, maybe just this one, because this is probably the most racist rabbi in the country. He published a book called The King's Torah, or Torah Tamelech. And this book, it's like a theological treatise. It asks the question, under what circumstances may a Jew kill a non-Jew? He comes to the conclusion that pretty much under any circumstance, he writes there is justification for killing babies if it is clear that they will grow up to harm us.
Straight up, just a dude who's justifying an outright genocide of children, like babies.
This is the man who receives a prize from Israel's education minister, essentially, publishing a Gentile murdering manual. Oh, so what, they didn't report this in the Basler Zeitung? Is this not ridiculous that I have to fly all the way over here and burn up all these fossil fuels to explain this to you, this basic stuff?
Wild. And then I like to follow that video up with this video where this guy points out, I won't show you the whole video, but I'll show you this part because I think it really ties in.
Taking out field grade officers and leaving the lower enlisted alone. That's actually very disciplined and sophisticated.
This guy's talking about the most recently snipered officers in Gaza from the Israeli Defense Force numbers. And he makes this observation, and I think it's a great observation.
When we're talking about military incompetence, I want you to look at the ages of these people. Lieutenant Colonel, 35 years old. One of my best friends was a West Point artillery officer. He didn't even make major until that. We have two majors who are 23 years old. What? That's insane. We have a 19-year-old sergeant. I was still in basic training when I was 19. I didn't even make sergeant in the Rangers until I was like 22. They're just a bunch of kids with no training. I mean, this makes a lot more sense. Well, there you have it, folks.
So what they're doing, very, very clearly, what they're doing is they're indoctrinating these kids very early on at a high-level academy with essentially Nazi propaganda, right? Jamming them out into the front line where they're getting sniped and killed, right? And if this is the age of the officer corps, then what's the age of the privates? If this is what the officer corps looks like, how young are the privates? Right? Or how dumb do you have to be to remain a private and still be 19 when you got to have a 19-year-old sergeant? This is dramatic. This is dramatic. And what it shows you, and what I think David Sheen has done a really good job illustrating, is what the systemic nature of it is. And or at least a part of the systemic nature of it, that there's a structural issue at play, and that the institutions, that it isn't a culture, or it isn't simply a culture, that there are structural systemic institutions that are baked into the fabric of Israeli society that are resulting in these consequences, that are resulting in these sorts of situations. And so it's very difficult for me to believe that there is going to be any outcome in this except a total disaster. That eventually there comes a point where the United States abandons Israel. How do we know that's true? Because the United States has abandoned everybody else. It has a massive history of doing just that. It has no allies. It has no allegiances. It doesn't care about anybody. Everything with the United States is just alliances of convenience. One day they'll literally fund a dictator to take over a country, and the next day they'll send in troops to overthrow him. One day they'll fund a terrorist organization, and then that terrorist organization will become the casus belli for the invasion. They've done this over and 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 over again. That Israel is going to find itself in a position, and I'm not saying this is going to happen tomorrow, but it is going to happen inevitably, where Israel is going to be alone in the region. It will have lost its primary ally, and the people around them will absolutely despise them and be seeking its destruction. And that destruction will be inevitable. Meanwhile, Israel has nukes. How does this end in anything other than a total catastrophe and a total disaster? Well, guys, with that note, we've reached the end of this one. This was a fun one. I'm glad I got to ban some Nazis. I got to yell at some dullards for being morons. I got to meet some new people. Hopefully I've got some new donators. We'll see. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bells, hit the whistles, do all the stuff. And more importantly than anything else, guys, always remember, each and every one of you is a quantum being walking around in quantum energy. These billionaires are spending hundreds of billions of dollars in the hopes you'll never realize it. You'll just stay the good little commodity that they need you to be. Rebel. Revolt. Repent. Good luck. We're going to need it.